Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
Yep, it's on the menu today. Welcome to my premiere pre-record. I'm doing this Saturday night because I have nothing better to do. No, I'm traveling. I'll be with Jay Waller the entire week in beautiful Lake Tahoe. But right now, you are listening to The Rational Mail deep from within the Nevada high desert, secret nuclear bunker underground. We'll be talking a little bit about the reaction video. A reaction to reaction by Destiny. Is it Cuttlefish Game? I don't know if it's Cuttlefish Game. Might be. Cuttlefish, not Cuttlefish. Please. Get it straight. Oh, and here we go. Oh, such a good intro. Such a good intro. Who is this?
Are images that wouldn't usually be considered exceptional, except they feature the Prime Minister of Finland. Filmed this summer at several parties, the footage was posted to a private Instagram account. Sanna Marin expressed her anger that it was leaked on social media.
These videos are private and filmed in a private space. I resent that these became known to the public. I spent a night with my friends. We just partied, also in a boisterous way. I danced and sang.
Did you use intoxicants in these situations?
Alcohol.
And drugs?
Not that I know of.
Some have interpreted comments heard on the videos as referring to cocaine. Rival politicians have criticized Marin and suggested she take a drug test, and the Prime Minister responded she'd have no problem doing so. Meanwhile, one leading newspaper said the footage raised questions about her judgment.
Marin may have acted in good faith, but she should not be disgullible. The Prime Minister can, in a sensitive situation, put the weapons of information warfare in the hands of those who would like to hurt Finland.
Oh, man. Scandinavia. How the mighty have fallen. People ask me to do this. I don't know. You know what? I was going to pull this from the stream, but I'm not going to do it now because it's too good. It's too good to keep. I have to. Oh, God damn. Follow me. Jeez. I gotta find a way to turn this into some kind of like B-roll. Kevin Savo, turn this into B-roll for me. Of course, after a while, like by 2020, like with half an hour later, nobody cares who this person is. That's Sarah something of Finland, Marin of Finland. Yes, Prime Minister of Finland. Yeah, that Finland. Yeah, home of the Vikings. Norway. Does Norway have I think Norway has a feminist government. I know that Finland's famous for having a female feminist government. I also know that if you look at a lot of most of the certainly Scandinavian countries pride themselves on being egalitarian, right? I mean, that's whenever we're looking at we want a sort of a benchmark or let's say a control group for social experiments that have to do with like traditional gender. We always go to Scandinavia. We always go to Denmark, which is actually where I'm from, not Italy. Thank you very much. We always go there. We don't go to let's see, I don't know, Costa Rica. We don't go to Panama. We don't go. No. We go to let's see, the home of the mighty Vikings, the Norska, Northmen. Oh God, what happened? What happened, man? Gentlemen, what happened? my Viking Norwegian, Dane brothers. What the hell happened? Or I can also make the case for what's that chick's name in New Zealand? Jacinda. Yes. Okay. Well, there you have another. Well, why am I getting into this today? Well, today I'm going to sort of be, I'm going to be picking apart a reaction video to this is going to be a reaction video to a reaction video. If you're watching this right now, it is going to be premiering at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, my regular time for Sundays. The reason I'm doing a pre-record right now here on a Saturday evening is because I will be, by the time this is ready to go, I'll probably be in a car headed up to trailering up my wave runners and mountain bikes and 2 Greyhounds and maybe a guitar or an oud. Go check my Instagram. You'll understand where that joke comes from. And I'm going to be meeting, Justin Waller will be up there, and Tom, Tom's the guy who does my clips channel, by the way. And we just surpassed, where'd it go? Dang it, I had it right here and ready to go too, and I screwed it up. Here we go. Number 2 is now available. See, look at that. I got to put it down so you don't get the glare. Rational Male Clips, we passed 100,000. Courtesy of Thomas. I already passed. I passed my 100,000 last year for this main channel here, of course. But bravo! I don't have a. God damn it! I don't have a. I need an applause drop. But thank you very much. That goes out. Yeah, there you go. It's not as good when I don't have a live chat. But thank you very much, Tom. Tom is my clips guy, and he's also Fresh and Fit's clips guy. He also works very closely with, Justin Waller, Sterling Cooper. I know he's done work for Hotep Jesus. He also works with the Tates as well. So he's got a lot going, and he is if you need somebody to do your clips, drop me an email and I'll put you in touch with Tom. He's a really good dude. Works with a lot of guys. Thank you. But I will be seeing him up at the lake. We're all going to be spending about a week up there, so we'll be doing some quick hit videos. Most likely, we'll be doing some Instagram stuff. If we can work it out, I'm going to bring my full. The great thing about going to Tahoe is I can bring all of my gear. So I'll be bringing my full traveling gear with me. So I'll have a camera and everything. So I might be able to live stream with the laptop too. So look for that. If I do, well, you know what? I probably will. I will do a midweek on Wednesday with Justin and possibly Miguel from Cultivate Crypto. He is coming up from Las Vegas, and I'll probably have him up there midweek of next week. So something to look forward to. I'm telling you that in the beginning here because I'm going to shoot straight through. One of the great things about doing pre-records like this and doing premieres, and please do super chat. I will get back to them if it's a question or if it's a comment or whatever. I do appreciate those, even though it is a premiere. I appreciate your support. So. But one thing about doing pre-records is I think I'm a little bit more focused, and I'm not running all over the place, because I'm a one-man show and I'm usually looking at the chat when I am also running the show. So when I don't have to, I think I can be a little bit more focused. So we're going to get a little focused today. Now, why did I start with Sarah? What the hell is her name? Dang it. I had it on here. Sana. I think that's it. Sana. Hope I'm saying it right. It's probably a Finnish pronunciation. Well, because she is part of the, let's say, gynocracy. And that's actually really a word. That's not something I pulled out of my ass, okay? A gynocracy is actually a government by women for women. That's different from a matriarchy, by the way. It's like, that would be like one patriarch versus one matriarch. Like it's almost like one. But when we talk about gynocracy or gynocratic social order, that's different. I guess you could say it's a little bit different than gynocentrism, but I mean just in a political sense. But there is such a thing. There's actually a word for it. It's called gynocracy. and that is a government by women for women, which is really where we're at right now. And this is the primary like kind of bone of contention, I think, that Destiny had with a very old, well, not very old, I guess earlier this year, probably about 6 or 7 months old, video that I did with Myron and Fresh, where I was discussing how women organize society versus how men organize society. And of course, everything's, cherry picked, right? It's all, everyone wants to hit these, hit videos, this is like the 30-second buzz clip. This is only a 20-minute video that he did. And of course, he's too busy playing whatever the hell video. How the hell do you play video games and I understand like multitasking. I'm pretty good at it, but like I never have understood like why watching someone play a video game is entertaining and then listening to them talk. But apparently it is. I mean, obviously Twitch has built a whole, platform based on that. But like I'm not sure how you really sort of focus your attention on playing the game, scratching your ass and playing a game at the same time. How do you do that? But he got a few zingers in, so I just wanted to address some of those. I don't think Destiny is necessarily a dumb guy. He struck me as very intelligent. People have asked me like, oh, you should do a debate with him. You should talk with him. I'm not against it. I just think I'm just wondering like, what will we discuss? And after today's video, after I kind of dig into this a little bit more, I think you'll understand. I got a couple of things on the agenda that I want to get to, but the main thing is this: I would like to explain what my thought process is behind all of this, because it's really easy to take things out of context and then have other people straw man you and tell you like what it is that, here you go, straw man you and tell you what you are saying. Right? No, dude, I'll tell you what I'm saying. Okay. I'm happy to explain this. And, people want to say, well, Rollo, he's very verbose and he just can't get to the point, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. Let me see if I can be as succinct and as comprehensive and see if I can tie this up with a nice little bow that like 8th grade readers can like wrap their heads around. But again, to jump in and say, well, this is what he meant, or let's poke fun at this, or he's trying to force this whole thing into his own little ideological bubble. Well, that's not. I don't use the word ideology with me. I mean, unless we're talking about ideologies, but don't really. I don't get into ideological debates. I don't get into full philosophy ideology. If you want to talk nuts and bolts, if you want to talk data points, if you want to talk connecting dots, I'm all there. Let's talk about that first. And then if you want to say, okay, well, here's how I interpret this data. Okay, then we can get there. But let's establish what it is that we're talking about first, instead of going and saying, well, here's what I think he means. And I'll get into it. And again, I don't necessarily take offense to this. At least there's like some, I don't know, I can see the sort of the gears working in the head here. But I want to touch on that. But now I also have some other videos for you later on that are kind of related to this one. But I started with the Prime Minister of Finland here, first of all, because it's in the news and it's the new hotness, right? However, it is representative of what I'm talking about in the video that Destiny was critical of. So when we look at the countries that have quote unquote feminist run countries, I mean, clearly the gender egalitarian Scandinavian countries would be, at the top of that list. But they don't necessarily have to be feminist. We just have to look at what the gynocentric or gynocratic sort of undercurrent is for those countries, and what it is that women, I guess, political ideology, what is that they believe? What is it like? How do women organize a society? I brought this up. If you were at the Rebel Capitalist in January in I think it was in Dallas. Yeah, Collective was in Houston. I've done this talk a couple times. I'm actually thinking about maybe doing a full comprehensive video about this. But when I was doing that workshop, which by the way, I think the live stream is still available on Instagram because I did live stream it on Instagram. But I spoke about this. I said, how is it that women organize society? In what way? when we talk about like the patriarchy and how the patriarchy has been this, oppressive, sexist, tyrannical, oppressive, systemic, systemic oppression of women, right? For the longest time. And up until really the sexual revolution, or right around, or you could even make the case like 1920, when we gave women the right to vote with the passage of the 19th Amendment, right? You can make a case as far back as that, I guess. But certainly after certainly after World War II, and certainly after the sexual revolution years and into where we're at right now, we are now seeing how women organize society, how women will govern. And I think what is sort of the mask that's falling off, or what's becoming unignorable, is that it is women who are pulling the strings. It is women who are doing the decision making. I have argued that Joe Biden is not cognitively there, and people are behind the scenes, or he has handlers. Nancy Pelosi is probably, in the United States here, is probably the most powerful, is effectively, for all intents and purposes, is the president right now. She's the one flying to Taiwan. She's the one who's moving around. And of course, whatever your political opinion is of Nancy Pelosi, and I certainly don't have a high one. She's 82 years old. She's been in Congress since 1989, and she has wielded more political influence, if not political power, than the 6 presidents she has served under. We need, in the United States, we definitely need term limits for Congress critters. We definitely need age limits for Congress persons. When you look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she died on the bench. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course, was a Supreme Court justice for a very long time and died at 89 while serving on the bench, because on her deathbed confession to her granddaughter, said exactly this: I want to be replaced by Hillary Clinton, or the first female president, who she assumed would be Hillary Clinton in 2016. But that is she wanted to wait out Trump, is what she wanted to do. She wanted to wait out the Trump years and hope against hope that a female president would come around and would replace her on the bench. Unfortunately, she died right before that. Well, actually, right before the elections. I believe it was like September, October of 2020. And that is the depth of investment, let's just say, that women have in what I call the sisterhood uber alles. Okay, when we're looking at a systemic governmental wide, I guess, I don't even really want to call that, like how do women organize societies? Well, when they do, that's the degree of investment women have in ensuring female power. This is a really good example of that. This is Nancy Pelosi at I believe this is the UN, but this is a climate, women and climate here. And this was not too long ago. I believe this was back in March. So I'm going to add this here real quick.
Now, people ask me all the time for many years, if you ruled the world, what one thing would you do? If I ruled the world, the one thing that I would do is invest in the education of women and girls and their empowerment. You and I know.
Okay, those people in the background are economic leaders. I'm going to show you who they are here in just a moment, but they are directors of the IMF, the World Bank, European Central Bank, all run by women. They're the chairpersons, right? They're the people who are pulling the strings and making the decisions. You can see them here in the background as well.
No, that makes all the difference in the world, not just to those women, to their families, to the communities, to their countries, to the world. So I thank you for the opportunity, Madam Minister, thank you, and the President as well, to participate in this timely conversation. Thank you for recognizing the centrality of women in the climate fight. And thank you to the women and young women, people who have been mobilizing. We always say in Congress, inside maneuvering can just go so far. The outside mobilization makes everything better. And so let's thank those young people for their mobilization, and women as well. And they're true to our mantra, we don't agonize, we organize. We organize. So let's thank them for what they're doing out there.
Of course, this is a women's conference. So
again, because we believe that when women succeed, the world succeeds. And so, as President Biden has said, America is back, together for the planet, for the women, for our children.
This is a shining example, and I'm glad I held on to this. I didn't know when I was ever going to use this clip, but I'm glad I did, because this is a shining example of the sisterhood uber alles. That's a declaration is what that is right there. It's a government, a kynocracy, man, a government by women for women. Who is pulling the strings? Okay. Now, Destiny's going to accuse me here, and I'm okay with this, but Destiny's going to accuse me of like saying, oh, well, you're trying to shoehorn this into your shtick, into your red pill shtick. Okay. Well, I want to preface what I'm going to talk about here, just so we understand each other, Destiny, if you're watching this, just so we understand the message and what I was talking about in that clip with Myron and Fresh. I don't just pull this out of my ass. I'm very particular. I'm going to show you some statistics. I'm going to show you some data. I'm going to show you how does Rollo come to the conclusions that he does. It sounds like I'm just mouthing off, especially on Fresh and Fit. Like I probably did the after hour show with half a dozen girls or more than a dozen girls right after that show. But that doesn't, that's one show and this is another show. But right there, Nancy Pelosi is essentially declaring for the sisterhood uber alles. What does that mean? Uber alles. That means the sisterhood above all. I believe that's German, right? But it's the sisterhood before. It's by women for women. When if you've read my fourth book, Religion, there's a part in there, there's a full chapter in there called the Goddess Movement. So you can also relate the sisterhood uber alles to how do women organize and create religion. What does a religion by women for women look like? I explore that in that book. So it's not just about politics. It's not just about organizing society. It's not just about UN, Women's Council on Climate Change or whatever the hell it is, right? It's not just about that. It's everything. It's all of it. So like I think what I don't think enough people really appreciate is the fact that when I start talking about red pill things or women's nature or men's nature, it scales up. It scales up from the micro to the macro. So when I talk about like the proliferative phase of a woman's menstrual cycle or something, we're going down to the micro at that point. But when you talk about ovulatory shift and when you talk about like what it is, why is it that women want, masculinized guys at one point, they want feminized guys at another, what is the alpha seed beta need? How does that scale up to the personal level? How does that scale up to the family level? How does that scale up to the tribal level, meaning like your various tribes, whether that's your religion or your politics or your workplace or your sports team or whatever it is? How do women do tribalism differently than men? How do women do economics differently than men? How do women do politics? How do they do religion differently than men? How do women do life differently than men? Because we're finding that out right now. And whenever I get people asking me like, Rollo, where's all this going? When is the pendulum going to swing back? When are men going to sack up? You know who just said that? Patrick Bet-David. And I've got a clip of Pat here in just a second. I'll throw at you. But we're right now smack dab in this push because everybody wants to put their foot in the manosphere right now. Everybody wants to at least, not maybe swallow the red pill, but just put it on my, taste it a little bit and see if it's okay, right? Or it's what I call the pick and pull method, which is like, it's like going to the pick and pull pick-a-parts lot where you go and you find all the car parts that you need in the junkyard and you pull, I need this, I need a distributor cap, I need that, I need all this crap, right? It's like whatever it is that you want out of the red pill like junkyard, right? Whatever it is you want out of the manosphere, you're just going to pick and pull those things and that's going to be whatever red pill happens to be to you. And that's a very ignorant way of going about it, but it's also self-affirming, I guess, self-evincing. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. But it's something that like being able to sort of pull the parts that you agree with and just hang on to those because they reaffirm what your previous blue pill ideological, conditioning was, and okay, that aligns, that complements my blue pill understanding of the world, but I don't want the rest of this kind of stuff. And so what happens is there's this attempt to sanitize the red pill. And by the way, this is probably the third cycle of this. I've written essays about women primarily back then, but now more so I think men, because men have their own like sort of online brands now, but they're trying to sanitize the red pill. Oh, this is what, there's some, they get some things right. Well, okay, well, first of all, what? And then what don't they get right? And usually that what they don't get right is something that just doesn't align with their spiritual beliefs, their political beliefs, they're just, it's just a bridge too far. I don't want to, I think, what was I saying? Was it a Vlad or something like that? Somebody sent me a link to a Reddit post, and I had like DJ Academics was in it. He was just kind of sitting there like, glassy eye, but he was talking about like Kevin Samuels. And if you don't know who Vlad, I'll put the link in the descriptions, but he was talking about how he talked to Kevin Samuels once, and this is like sort of his post-mortem, recollections of him, and saying, I talked to him once and then I didn't talk to him ever again because I thought he had some really dangerous ideas. And I'm paraphrasing here. You can go ahead and look at it. It's all like a 30-second clip, but this is the guy. And if you look in the comments later in that Reddit thread, this is a guy who's had drug dealers on, murderers, like guys who are, hardcore rap, like guys who rap in their songs about killing guys that they know, right? Excuse me. And they have a problem. Like, don't have a problem with that, with those guys. But that's how heavy the red pill is. That's how heavy this stuff is. Like, it is more tolerable to have drug dealers and murderers and to give them their props than it is to give Kevin Samuels props for saying, get in shape, being somewhat critical of women, and not even like he's not. Kevin Samuels wasn't, to my knowledge, Kevin Samuels wasn't a rapper. He wasn't a gangster rapper. But I bring that up because that is the gravity with which we will tolerate or not tolerate the red pill in whole or in part. And I think it's very important to recognize that for guys who have been with me for a long time, or guys who've been in this space for a long time, to understand what's going on around them right now. Half of this is, having Destiny on, or having some of these big name bloggers that are vloggers, whatever you have, Twitch streamers, YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, that are coming up, and people keep saying, "Oh, Rolo just trying to get his props." No, dude, I don't care about props. I care about accuracy, and that's what this is really all about. Even when I'm going to talk about Destiny's reaction video, I'm going to give the reaction video to the reaction video. I don't hold anything against Destiny. I want accuracy. That's why I'm doing this. And I think along the way, people can learn something from defining what is and what isn't, and how we come to those conclusions. Ain't nobody got time. There's Brett Sandra. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for 4-hour videos. Ain't nobody got time for 45-second videos. They just want you to, poke someone like the Three Stooges and boink, in the eye for 45 seconds, and then move on to the next, to the next video. That's essentially what most of YouTube is right now. It's not educational in as much as it is confrontational. And so people are looking for buzz clips. People are looking for people to it's what we call YouTube blood sports. And I believe it was Andrew Worski who coined that term, YouTube blood sports. Get two guys together who don't know that they're going to be on the same show and let them fight. Put them in the gladiatorial, pit, and two men go in. There's one knife on the ground and one man comes out. That's the idea behind it. Only we're doing it, I think, with a little more skill and a little more craft right now. So when people want to jump into the red pill space, and by the way, we're still about almost 18 months into this now, because I can remember when Mike Rashid wanted to be associated with Myron and Fresh. I can remember when Abba and Preach were cool with Myron and Fresh. I can remember when the roommates were cool with the red pill. Hell, I remember them having being on Candace Owens' show and talking about red pill. I mean, Candace Owens, Red Pill Black. That was her name. That was her title back in 2015. I've said that before. But now we never knew Ye. Like we pulled the parts that we want, and now we feel better about making a living off of, hitting back or trying to find some way to sanitize the red pill. And I think honestly, I think that's really kind of par for the course. I think it's sort of the predictable end to people who got into it, got off on it for a bit, and now they're realizing I better get out of it. So when I was talking to, or when I was, I think I just did was it Tom pulled a clip out of the last video that I did, and I was talking about Tim Pool and how Tim Pool was getting into a red pill space, and that was me doing a reaction video, of course. I'm talking about Steven Crowder for a little bit, and I think a lot of people misinterpreted that because they thought I was trying to say, oh, how come people don't say my name? How come people, and that I wasn't crying about that. All I want is accuracy. In fact, I hope they do that. If you want to read my books, if you want to, I've got how many videos I've done about this, but I've always said this is that the red pill is open source and it needs to be open source. However, it needs to be amoral, apolitical, areligious, aracial. It needs to be neutral amongst all of that. But the problem is you can't build brands off of being aracial, amoral, whatever. You can't keep the red pill neutral and still have a successful Twitch channel or still have a successful YouTube channel. You've got to say something confrontational. That's the problem that most people have is they think that I am like here being an influencer. I'm not, God forbid. I think the biggest problem we have right now is that people automatically assume that you are trying to be an influencer of some sorts. And I hate that word now. I hate that term. It puts a chill down my neck because who are you influencing and who are you to be doing the influencing? Like, for instance, I mean, we've got, if you look at, say, like a guy like Andrew Tate, who, by the way, just got banned. And yes, I know that. And how come Rollo's not talking about that? Well, I'm not talking about that right now because it's par for the course. If you didn't know that was going to happen, I don't know what to tell you, man. Andrew Tate has lost so many Twitter accounts, I can't even keep track. So it's just another Twitter account to me, but we make a huge deal out of it because he's become such a huge deal. How many Instagram I'm not sure which Instagram account he was on. I know he's been banned off of social media several times. Hell, John MLD has been, what's he on, like account number 11 or 12 right now on Twitter? It's par for the course. I expect it to happen. It comes in cycles. They had to know this was coming. If they didn't, then I don't know what to tell you. But then we're going to have this indignation. We're going to have the conversation about free speech. The same thing happened with Roosh way back in the day. Same thing. That's why he wrote Free Speech Isn't Free, which you can't buy anymore off of Amazon because he canceled all of his books. But that was when he was writing about his world tour when he was, gallivanting around the world and actually mostly going to the United States and Canada. And they wouldn't allow him into into Australia at that time. You guys remember that? No, nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers the days or the world tour of neo-masculinity that Roosh was dishing out right after his Dr. Oz show when he was on Dr. Oz and he was doing the fat shaming show and they pilloried him. He looked like a shamed little boy. And he said he got like ambushed in that, right? Well, I don't know for sure, but I do know this is he must have had some kind of money from that because almost immediately after that, he goes on his world tour. He goes through Canada. That's where he got the beer thrown in his face. That's where he was, supposedly was doing these secret meetings and everything else. And then, of course, what happens is he gets silenced. He gets canceled. He gets censored. And then what happens? Write a book about it. Move on. Same thing's going on with Tate right now. He's a big deal. Oh, I can't believe we live in a country where they would cancel somebody just for their ideas. I do. Hell, we've been doing this for like forever, man. Why did I even take the name Rollo Tomasi? Why did I just use my real name? Why didn't anybody? Why is it that people online, especially in this space, why is that we take a moniker? Why is it we take a pseudonym? I'll tell you why I did way back in the days because of exactly this. I felt like my work and my essays and my writing was important enough that I needed to protect it. And I needed to protect like the people around me as well. Like my wife and all the people who've been doxxed by guys from within the Manosphere. That's what I was trying to protect. My wife, my daughter, my mother-in-law, my dogs, hell, my extended family. Trying to, that's why I used a pseudonym. That's why I still use a pseudonym. Everybody just knows me as Rollo now, right? But that's why I originally did that, because you could go and write all the most crazy, radical feminist crap that you wanted to, and nobody would even consider censoring you. And this is back in 2012, 2014. But Rollo Tomassi goes out there and he starts talking about hypergamy, or he starts talking about like war brides, or he starts talking about alpha widows, or if he starts talking about, basically anything that's in my first book. Well, you could get canceled for that. And not only can you get canceled for something like that, you'll lose your job. And back then I had a job to lose. Back then I had to worry about things like that. I had to worry because I was a representative of a lot of different brands when I was working in Hawaiian spirits, especially. And I had to be very, very careful of that. So I didn't show my face until 2017 at the 21 convention, but that was the right time. It was the right place, right time. People always ask me, like, how come you didn't do it sooner? How come you just don't use your real name? And how come you just show your face immediately? Because it seems like you're a coward. No, I'm careful. There's a reason why Batman has a secret identity. There's a reason why Spider-Man has a secret identity. And it's not because he wants to be a coward or he wants to be dark and mysterious. It's because he needs to protect the people who other people or the villains want to attack. They can't get to Batman. They'll go get, I don't know, what's his butler's name? Alfred, right? They'll go and they'll kill Mary Jane. They'll go and kill Uncle Ben. They'll go and, find Aunt May. That's why you have a secret identity. It's not because of some ego stroking, mechanism. It's because you're trying to protect people. And I know exactly how that is. So that's really why I did that. But this is just the next cycle in all of that. And so when I see, hey, we're going to have this conversation about free speech and cancel culture. You mean like we did 2 years ago or 4 years ago? Or when Roosh was in Montreal and getting, censored, and he could literally the entire country of Australia would not let him in into Australia. You mean like that? Because we have been dealing with that for a very long time. It's nothing's changed. 2022. We're still here. I'm still doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to change my name or anything. You can call me by my real name. I don't give two shits now. But the thing is I'm sticking with that. And so are a lot of other people sticking with their names too, that are using, like Richard Hart. That ain't his real name. Yeah. There's the, let's see who else. Try to think who else is using a moniker. Well, of course, Myron and Fresh. That's not their real names. I know their real names. You do too, probably. But we're still going with it because that's who we are online. Now, I'm going to get into a couple of other things here. Now, I want to show you this one really fast. Because this kind of I don't say it rubs me the wrong way, because I actually do like Patrick Bet-David quite a bit. However, I think there's a difference between the brand of Patrick Bet-David and the man of Patrick Bet-David. And so one of the things I want to point out here before I show you this little piece right here is that this is the preface to this. Okay, is that there's a lot of guys who want to criticize me for not giving them a prescription. Oh, the red pill is great on theory, but they're short on answers. They don't have solutions. I need a concrete solution. Well, fine. Here's your solution. Use all of these tools to better your life. There's your solution. There's your practical. Hypothetical, practical. Your practical is use all the hypothetical, all the data points, and use it to your best advantage. Use those tools to leverage a better life. There you go. Well, shouldn't we get married? Shouldn't we not get married? Should we do this? How do we live? Tell me how to live. Show me how to live. What's that Soundgarden song? No, forget which one. Hey, Chris Cornell. Show me how to live. Like that's what you want? Is that what you're really looking for? Because a lot of guys, they're and Patrick Bet-David is it's a very short clip. Actually, let me just show you this real quick here. I'll add this here before I continue.
Going to help men make a comeback. Women, it's going to be where a lot of you had a girl on your podcast who's like, listen, this is what I'm looking for a man. I want to be able to do this. I want a man that does this, where they're looking for more alphas of men who are willing to step up and take the lead rather than being, you know, pansies walking around thinking they have to please everybody. And I think it is making a comeback. You know who?
Do women have your answers? Do they? Are they a better guru than Rollo Tomassi? Are they? Are apparently, according to Patrick Bet-David, you know, women are going to be ones that sort of like light the way. No, they're not. In fact, you need to ask yourself why it is that there needs to be a comeback in the first place after 4 generations of telling men to man down. Now suddenly we want men to man up. And you're going to tell me that the women who told men to man down for 4 generations, since really the sexual revolution, and which is, by the way, is a blink of the eye in the whole overall scheme of humanity. But you're going to tell me that that same element is going to suddenly tell us, you show us how to live, right? Like if you're looking for someone to tell you, like, how do I do this? How do I do that, Rollo? Give me answers, man. Give me 12 rules for life. Give me 7 quick tips to a better life or better love or better relationship. Or why don't you talk more about your own relationship and your marriage? How do you have a great marriage, Rollo? How do you do these things? Can't we just follow? And you should talk more about how you got to where you're at, because a lot of people really want what you have. And I'm going to tell you this. No, because I'm not going to try to sell you on some template that I happen to live and what worked for me will automatically work for you. So when I get people who are saying, show me how to live, give me some advice. You're an influencer. Point me in the right direction, at least. I'm going to tell you to do it yourself. If you want the solution, if you want a practice, if you want 12 rules for life, if you want some advice or whatever, if you want to solve your problems, don't look at me. Don't look at anybody else but yourself. I can give you the tools. I can show you the data. I can show you the points. We can have a feisty debate about whether those data points are valid or they're invalid, or how do they relate to other ones. We got to take them all in succession. We can't just take them one at a time. We can go and have those conversations. But at the end of that conversation, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what my advice. I don't give advice. That's just it. His advice is bang a lot of hoes, and he's been married for 26 years. Oh, I can't believe it. My advice is not anything like that. I don't say jack shit about that. I say nothing about that. Oh, how come he doesn't talk about his marriage? Well, because I'm not going to sit here and insult you by saying that if you follow these quick and easy steps, you're going to have a great marriage like me. I respect my people. I respect my audience, my readers, my viewers, my listeners, whatever. Hell, if I'm looking you dead in the face, I got to look people dead in the face, right? I still have lots of people who say, Rollo, you saved my life. Great. And then explain to me how you did that. Show me your work. Show me what you built. With the tools that I gave you, show me what you built. I didn't kill myself. Great. That sounds like you built something real good. There's lots of I've got so many testimonials over the course of 20 years of guys who've been telling me that the Rational Male, my work, my essays, just prattling on YouTube, whatever, has benefited their lives. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't give them some like template program to go do it. I just gave you the tools, and they built something with it. They took it to heart and they used it to their own advantage. Now, you probably heard a lot of people say this in the sphere, and I'm going to leave it at this because I think this really speaks to what Patrick Bet-David is saying. I've heard this so many times. I heard this Justin Waller, I think he actually, it wasn't actually his quote, but he was quoted for this. I think it was in Newsweek or something. And he said that we were on Adam Sosnick's show. It was me and Tori and Justin. And he said, the quote was something like, the most liberating, most enlightening day of my life is when he said he read the words, "No one is coming to save you. You've got to save yourself. You got to figure this out on your own. No one is coming to save you." Do you agree with that? I'm going to look at the chat and ask you this. Do you agree with that? No one is coming to save you. Do you agree with that? I would say that most of the people in the Manosphere agree with that statement. No one is coming to save you. You see it like conservative guys, power up guys, power dads, the mighty mountain men of masculinity guys will say the same thing or some variation of that. No one's coming to save you. You've got to take it on your own, take it on the chin, and take responsibility and be a man's man. No one is coming to save you. Do you agree with that? You do? Great. Then you have no right to say, Rollo, hold my hand and walk me through life. Guru guy over here, give me 12 rules for life. Jordan Peterson. You over there, give me the 7 tips to a better life, and the 4th one will shock you. If you believe that no one is coming to save you, that fundamentally conflicts with the idea of somebody saying, I've got this plan. I've got this. Here's the template. Here's the list. Here's the things to do to get a better life. You don't get to, you get one or the other. You get to say, no one's coming to save me, and I'm the one that has to go and solve my own problems, build my own life, use these tools, use this data, use this better red pill awareness to have a better life. But how dare you ask anyone, me or otherwise, show me how to live. Give me some concrete advice. Show me how I should do this. Give me some fucking solutions. No, because you know where those solutions are? They're in you. They're in you. And I know that sounds like, positivity porn right there, but they are. They are literally in you. You're the one who has to use these tools to your best advantage. I don't know what your strengths are. I don't know what your weaknesses are. It will be irresponsible of me to say, oh, here, follow this, and things will work out for you. And it sounds like this generalized, flip-flop, mealy-mouth bullshit, but it's true. You just have to look at these freaking tools. You got to look at this data sets. You look at these fundamentals. If you think they're bullshit, fuck, I'm great. Let's have that talk. But in the meantime, you have to understand that you cannot say, no one is coming to save me, and therefore I got to man up and I got to do my own thing. And then in the next freaking sentence, in the next breath, tell me like, I don't say there's the red pill's long on theory and short on concrete answers. Yeah, your concrete answers are right here. Right here. That's where your concrete answers are. That's where your program is. That's where your solutions are. You just want somebody to hold your hand. You're sheep. You're sheep in search of a shepherd, as Ryan Stone would say. You don't need it. You don't get to say no one is coming, because you know what? That shepherd that you're waiting for is not going to save you. So you get to decide, no one is coming to save me, or I need 12 rules for life. Or, these guys are charlatans because they don't give me some, written in stone formula that will work for me and everyone else on planet Earth. You don't get to say that. What do you want? Do you want to be a sheep, or do you want to say no one is coming to save me? And you know who's definitely not coming to save you is women, Patrick Bet David. Because women are the ones who brought about the conditions that men need to come back from in the first place. I don't know. How is that not like self-evident? Who's going to save you? You think it's going to be Nancy Pelosi? Do you think it's going to be here's who's coming to save you? Like here's who's going to help you with your comeback. This is going to help you with the comeback. Women will help you man up the alpha. And here it is. Leader of creation, man. Sana Marin. I hope I'm saying that right. She's going to help you, right? I mean, right, Pat? I mean, that's the deal, isn't it?
Help men make a comeback.
Who?
Women.
Oh.
It's going to be where a lot of like you had a
Oh no, those women are low quality, my friend. We've got to find real women of integrity and power and poise. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to help you make a comeback. The only person who's going to help you, well, the red pill, of course, because we're going to give you we're going to equip you. We don't help you. We equip you. You help yourself. We give you the equipment. We give you the tools. We give you the data. We give you the stats. And sometimes guys don't want to hear those. They bristle at the stats. So they want to pick and pull stuff. But that's the deal. The red pill is not about solutions. You are about solutions. And anyone who's telling you otherwise, anyone who says, "Hey man, I got this program and follow my course or follow this or read my book or go get out there, grow a long beard and sit out by the campfire with your Jeep and your light beer and then you'll be a man." Like, dude, well, just get back in my get into my liminal order. Anyone selling you on that, because those guys know that desire is there. No one's coming to save me, but I want to believe somebody could come to save me. So therefore, I'm going to say, let's see, the red pill is short on solutions. Rollo doesn't have any concrete solutions. Yeah, you're goddamn right. I don't. Where to go?
You're goddamn.
I don't have any solutions for you, my friend. I am like Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know. People look to me and say, "Is the end near? When is the final day? What's the future of mankind? How should I know? I got left behind," right? Read all the lyrics to "I Don't Know." That's this guy. I don't know. But I do know the data. I do know the data. I do know I can equip you so that you can know for you. Yes, I can do that. That's not influence. That's just simply me educating and equipping. That's my job. My job is not to solve your problems. My job is not to save you because, as we said, no one's coming to save you. You save you. Well, I would love to give you, the equipment so that you can help yourself, so you can save yourself, so that you can do what's best, what play to your strengths, right? What are you deficient in? I'm not gonna sell you something that you don't need. I'm not gonna tell you like I've got some perfect, template for you, and women certainly don't have that for you either, and they're not going to help you be alpha any more than Rollo Tomasi is going to help you be alpha. I'm just going to give you the equipment so that you can do it your own goddamn self. So keep that in mind. I'm the only, as far as I know, I'm the only person who's saying shit like this. I don't have a program. Maybe Ryan Stone is, right? People who are like sort of objective, we're kind of like, we don't have any dog in the fight here. Like Aaron Clary. Aaron Clary's, he's going to give you advice, right? He might say, "Hey, get in the military," or he's got some fatherly and uncle advice, I guess, Uncle Aaron advice. But as far as I know, he's not like trying to be your savior. I am not your personal Jesus Christ. Neither is Aaron, neither is Ryan, neither is Rich Cooper, neither is John MLD. No one is your personal Jesus Christ. You have to say no one is coming to save you. So you've got to find some way to save yourself. And I'll tell you this, you'll do that better if you're better equipped. And that's what this is about. That's the difference between a praxeology and an ideology. I can tell you, if you want an ideology, I'll be happy. What was it? L. Ron Hubbard says, if you want to make $1 million, sell a book. If you want to make real money, start a religion. I'm paraphrasing, but I believe that's a quote from L. Ron Hubbard. Dianetics, Scientology. Do you not think I could do something like that? Absolutely I could. But I choose to use my superpowers for good, not for evil, to help you guys out because I want to create. I don't want to destroy. Well, with that said, let's move along a little bit here. I'm going to actually get rid of Sana finally and get rid of this finally. And let's see. Patrick Bet David has served his purpose. So I think I'll pull him out of the stream too. So we're going to get into Destiny here in just a moment, but before we do, well, actually, you know what? I think I'll wait. I've got one more video that I got to insert into the rest of this, but I want to sort of riff on this for the rest of this show. Again, standard caveats apply here. I don't have anything against Destiny. I realize he's a cuck. I'm not saying that as to be mean. I'm just saying that's an observation. He says it himself. I watched all the Fresh and Fit stuff. I watched the Sneeko stuff. I watched all that stuff. I'm well aware of anything again, this is a premiere. This is this is not a live broadcast. This is just me and you today. I understand. I saw this stuff. So you're not surprising me with anything. I get it. Oh, don't you know he's a cuck? Yeah, I know he's a cuck. Don't you know about his wife? Yes, I know about his fiance. Oh, open marriage. Yeah, I got it. Stop. Okay. Whatever your opinion is, I want to focus on what he's getting into right here. So this is not a flame or an attack on Destiny, but I do want to, I think it would be educational to understand how I come to the conclusions I do in this video. So let's get started here. All right. For women, I see a lot of loneliness on the horizon. Okay, so by the way, he's criticizing a clip. I want to say this was, God, when was this? This was this year. I want to say it was like February or March of this year. And I don't say that to be like an asshole. I say that as sort of a warning. I think a lot, like whenever a guy says, "Oh, you're going to be lonely and cat lady, and you're going to have box wine and whatever," like, and you're going to be a spinster is basically what they're saying. And it sounds like revenge. It sounds like guys are either too happy or they're too pissed off or too sad about like the state of women. I just go down to nuts and bolts, and I outline this actually in book 4 as well. There is a study by Morgan Stanley Financial. They did you can go find it too. It's online. It's called The Rise of the She Economy. And in that sort of research, they postulate that by 2030, women between the ages of 25 and 44, something like 52%. I hope I'm getting my numbers right. Something like 45 to 52%.
It's over half.
Yeah, over
it is going to be over half
of women of marriageable age will be single for the rest of their lives. They will not reproduce unless they get unless they get artificial insemination, but they will be unmarried and childless during those ages by 2030, which is like a very, very steep incline. In fact, they are so certain of this that they did this research on Morgan Stanley so their investors would know what to invest in the coming decade.
Wow.
So they're invest in box wine, right? And invest in cat toys, invest in
it's not a joke, guys, when we say this.
In ovum freezing, in reproductive technology.
And pet dogs.
Cats, dogs, whatever. What is going to be hot in the future, and this is what you can expect, and so this is what you should put your money into. So if we're already making predictions of where we should put our money, I think we need to look at why this is the way it is. Now, if you go and you follow the logic of Bloomberg or Morgan Stanley, Forbes, whatever, they will say this is a great success. This is a glowing, great progress of humanity. Well, finally, women are independent. You hear women say, like we heard last night from the 20-year-old girl, I want to give up my independence, right? Okay, I wanted to say this, but I didn't. Independent of what? Independent, like if you're independent of something, what were you dependent on that you're now independent of?
Right.
And whenever we hear this, remember I was telling you about how we've been hearing the same lingo from feminists for a long time. That's one of them. I want to be a strong, independent woman. Okay, independent of what? Independent of men. That's what it is. And they've already achieved that. There's more women in college right now. They're making more money now. Women control way more money than men do.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about like the bullshit of the gender pay wage gap, whatever it is, it's not endemic sexism. If there's any gap, there's a gap in spending. There's a gap in control and authority over that spending. Women are the number one consumers in Western societies as it is.
Bam.
But they also control, and again, another stat in the book is over the course of a family's history, women will control 90% of that family's wealth.
Yep.
That's car expenditures, that's college, that's we're going to go on vacation, we're going to buy this TV set.
Okay, sure, maybe, but all of this is like presented in like kind of a weird way. Like if the woman is the one that, and I think this is generally true, women are generally the ones that do the shopping. So I mean, like in a way, they kind of quote unquote control the wealth, but it's a little bit misleading. They're not the ones earning the money, and they're shopping to like pay for the family, right? It's not like women are getting all the like 80-90% of the wealth and then buying like Gucci bags. I mean, I guess maybe some are, but
this kind of stuff. Okay, that's fundamentally false. I've got stats here. I'll throw up. Actually, I always put this one up, and it's too. Well, I'll start with this one. Okay, so actually, I'm pulling them out real quick. Put that back in later. So here it is. I don't know if you guys can see that. I've got another one I'll have to blow up a little bit here too, but I'll just read this one out too. This is pretty easy. Economics of feminism. Women control 51% of all personal wealth in the United States. Control. Okay. Over the next 40 years, women stand to inherit $28.7 trillion in intergenerational wealth. Okay. Women save 9% of their salary on average, almost a full percent more than men do. Okay. That's the United States. So those are a couple of data points I wanted to make you guys aware of. That's number one. The other one is, and I'll just show you guys this and share the screen. It's easier to do. There we go. I have this as a slide, but it's easier to blow this up. Okay, so this is an infographic I'm fond of using. Let's see if I can roll down here. Okay, purchasing power of women. Okay, when it comes time to buy, women are more often the decision makers and motivators. Recently, women have gained ground in earning, spending, and influence on household spending. Okay. So flooding the market, $7 trillion is contributed by women in the United States in consumer and business spending. 91% of women say they think advertisers do not understand them, okay? 2/3 of consumer wealth in America will belong to women within the next decade. Okay, so it's not necessarily who's making the money. Now, I can even show you the other. I've got an Uber fact stat I'll bring up here in just a moment. But worldwide, women earn $18 trillion, but worldwide they spend $28 trillion, a full $10 trillion more than they actually earn. So yes, it does make a difference what women earn and what women spend, because if women are spending and allocating the money that they didn't earn, which would presumably be by their husbands or by like men who are the ones making the money, and women are doing the spending, it's not about who's doing the earning. It's about who's allocating the funds, who's distributing the wealth, who is distributing the resources and the revenue. Is your wife the one who is in control of your finances? Is she is the CFO of your company female? So it's not necessarily, and I'm going to show you some other shit here in just a minute. But it's not about who is doing the earning so much as it is who is doing the spending and who is allocating those funds. 50% of products typically marketed to men are purchased by women. Purchased by women. Public and personal and public. 60% of all personal wealth in the United States is held by women. Of all stock ownership in the United States, women control 51%. These are the stats you never hear when we're talking about, the gender pay gap. I don't care about the pay gap. I care about the spending gap. That's what I care about. I care about where the money is being allocated. Oh, well, it's not my money, but I'm going to be the one doing the spending. Right here we go. Spending and power. 80% of healthcare decisions are made by women. 68% of new car purchase decisions are made by women. 75% of women identify themselves as primary household shopper. 85% of all consumer purchases in the United States are made by women. It is not about who's doing the earning. It is about who's doing the spending. 65% of requested services at car dealerships are made by women. You would think it'd be the other way around, right? Women spend a combined $200 billion on new cars and mechanical servicing of vehicles in the United States per year. Okay, so it's not even a gendered thing at this point. What women buy, purchases by women account for 91% of new homes. How does that, when we talk about how do women organize society, how does 91% of new homes, how does that affect the housing market? Especially today, because it's absolutely nuts. This would be a great question to pose to to Ken McElroy or Jason Hartman or any real estate mogul guy. This would be a great question. How does that 91% of new homes purchases by women account for 91% of new homes, 66% of PCs, personal computers, vacations, 92%, bank accounts, 89%. Where are we going to put our money, honey? I don't know. U.S. Bank. Cool. Let's do it. Food, 93% of food purchased in the United States is from women. Control of wealth. Women own 40% of all American private businesses. 40%, not all, not half, but coming up. 1.3 million women earn more than $100,000 in annual salary. Senior women age 50 have combined net worth of $19 trillion. Over the course of a family's life, 90% of married women will control its wealth. That was the quote that I put in there. That's where I got this stats from. Okay, you want to know where the sources are? Here they are. Marketing Zeus. You can go pick them up. All those sources are right there on the bottom. You can see where right down here. Okay. If you want to see this infographic, it's real easy to find. Okay. Marketingzeus.com. All of it sites or sources cited. Okay. So I'm not pulling this out of my ass. Not just, this sounds like just like, is it just so reasoning? No, it's not. That's where it comes from. Women, if they're not making the money, they're directing the flow of where that currency is going to. So don't give me this bullshit about, well, we need to make as much money as a man, and it's because of this endemic sexism and the patriarchy. Fuck you, because you're the one spending the money, and I got the stats to show you.
But I feel like after talking to Myron, I feel like talking to somebody like this would be way less interesting.
Yeah. You know why? Because you don't have jack shit to say. You don't have a counter argument. Yeah, way less interesting. It would be a very short conversation. What do you say about these stats? I just gave them to you. I'll bring them along. I got it all. I've got it all. I've got a lot more to go too. So
it's just kind of silly. But
it's not silly. It is not silly when those decisions. Hell, the video game you're playing and the PC you're playing it on, 66% of those PCs are purchased by women. Or the decisions are made by women. It's not silly. You just don't know that it's going on around you. Again, like I said, that's why we call it the Matrix, my friend. It's the world that's going on around you. That right now.
Bam.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
And I'll say this real quick, Rolo. Women spend so much money that a male company like Gillette will risk losing business,
financial ruin,
to crap on men so that they can appease to women, because they understand even with male razors, women are the predominant consumers. So that goes to show you guys how strong women, women are the consumer base in the West, man. Even male companies are ostracizing their own target audience to sell to women.
Also,
Sorry, Rolo,
after that as well. So a lot of people don't know this, right? But behind a lot of tech companies,
I think they're talking about that, like the anti-rape commercial they made. Maybe they're really mad about that commercial.
Okay. No, it wasn't an anti-rape commercial. It was a Gillette commercial that was meant to sell razors. That's what it was. And it was not even a commercial. It was like a small mini movie. And by the way, was directed by an infamous militant feminist, like independent filmmaker, whatever. In fact, the commercial, I did a whole video on this when the Gillette thing came out. It's not, they're just mad because it's an anti-rape. No, you don't get away with those little sound bites, my friend. That's not what it was about. Myron's right. It was about shaming guys, but it was about getting women to buy those razors for the guys that they're going and doing the shopping for in the first place. That's the logic stream that's the downflow here. And in the meantime, we got guys looking like they're, dumbasses in front of a freaking, they're grilling hot dogs or something like that. Or you got the guy who's saying, oh, no, you shouldn't go out and do better, basically, is what it comes down to. It's not an anti-rape thing, although we can go and classify it as that. And by the way, I believe Gillette lost like somewhere in the range of like $8 billion as a result of this. And you got to remember, Gillette used to have, or I don't know if they still do, but they used to have the F1 racing girls, like the Formula One car racing girls in tight ass, Spanx, whatever it is, right? I mean, that's what Gillette was known for, as a male brand. But now, in a gynocentric social order, we changed the narrative. Do better, Ben. It would be better if you would cry a little bit more. And everything, by the way, everything in that commercial, if it wasn't directly an affront to masculinity, then it was ridiculing masculinity. And what I mean by that is, like, there's the guys who's the doofy guy, or then it's like this appeal to like get in touch with your emotional side. It's okay to let boys cry, that kind of shit right there. It wasn't just about one thing. That's the whole problem. And so dismiss it as just, it was just an anti-rape commercial. Go watch it again, dude. Go watch it again. Let's talk about that. I'd be happy to do a one-off on that whole commercial if you'd like.
It might have probably triggered somebody, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, female employees.
Yep.
And they control the flow.
And Fresh used to work for a tech company, guys.
Yeah.
This comes from experience.
They control the flow of how things are put out. Now, like you guys said, women control the customer base for most things. So get this, right? A lot of our content is not geared towards women. So what does it do? Suppress it and oftentimes delete it because it's not going to be suitable for their consumers, which is women.
Yep.
So yeah, that's very true.
Big facts. Sorry, Ro, go ahead.
Here's another
Prediction?
prognostication for the future. We live in the most emotionalized
Oh my
society
God.
the world has ever known right
Facts.
now. Everything is feels before reals. We say this all the time in the Manosphere, and we joke about it, but it's really true. We live in an age, and I make the case for it in book 4. Our religion is emotionalism right now. It's how did it make you feel?
Like, as opposed to what? When the rationality of man ruled, every man is like a perfectly rational being, or like
No, you're relying on binaries.
men allowed like fact and logic to dictate. Like, come on, dude. Do people really think we're that different? Like,
Yes, I do. I'm going to show you exactly why I mean this. Okay, here we go. Sources cited once again. Men scored higher than women on emotional stability across countries, even more so in highly individualistic societies. I mean, I got dozens of these, man. I can do this all day. We used rigorous methodological and analytical techniques to shed light on the true nature of gender differences in personality using a large sample personality score test from over 100 countries. Agreeableness and emotional stability showed small to medium differences between men and women, whereas differences between men and women were small for conscientiousness, extroversion, and negligible for openness. Men exhibit moderately more emotional stability than women do across countries. The meta-regression revealed that only one culture variable was related to one of the personality dimensions. That is, mean differences between men and women in emotional stability were larger in countries that scored higher in individualism, consistent with past research. The interactionist perspective could help explain why these results continue to emerge. Men may be evolutionarily predisposed to thrive more than women in competitive environments such as highly individualistic societies. The lack of interdependence and promotion of competition within these societies could then explain why men tend to score much higher in emotional stability than women in highly individualistic countries. There's one. There's others. You want me to show you the complementarity, the brain scan, the fMRI scans? I'll happily do that. Let's also look at this. This is a really good one. Sex differences in emotionality, with women scoring substantially higher, were larger in wealthy and gender egalitarian countries, replicating a well-known pattern. Here's another one. Studies on sex differences in personality traits have been extended to multinational investigation. One counterintuitive but robust finding from these studies is such differences are generally larger in more economically developed and gender egalitarian countries. Men control better their emotions better simply because we're wired that way. We don't have the hardware. We don't cry at the end of Titanic when women do. And the guys who do have a more feminine profile when it comes to their brains. Got it? So if you want all of these, this is the great thing about Rolf and the great thing about like Rob Henderson and the rest of the guys that I quote here. These come directly from studies. Okay. Gender differences in responses to moral dilemmas, by the way, that's an emotional thing. I'll come to that here in just a second. I've also got another one, gender preferences gaps for voting for redistribution of resources. We'll talk about that here in just a second because he's going to get real indignant when it comes to that. So I'll continue this. Let's keep going.
it's true.
Feel.
Yep. Our TikTok getting banned is an example of that.
Feeling. Yes, exactly.
You know,
Because
punish women for bad behavior. Feelings.
So when I get criticized by women, it's usually for my tone. Yeah. Right. Well, if you would just say it with sweet little sappy sugarcoat what you're saying, then women will respond to it. No, it's not how I'm saying something. It's the data that I'm imparting to you that is offending you because it goes against the what is, you know, an ego invested belief for that woman. It feels bad, and I get it. It's supposed to feel bad because if it's not feeling bad, then it's not going to motivate you to change.
Yes.
So in the future, and I don't know when we're going to reach critical mass, but right now
even that doesn't make sense. There's no self-help or self-improvement course that's taken seriously that like produces results for people that works, that starts with making you feel bad. That's like, and you'd think there'd be like a lot of crossover between like red.
Yes, there is. It's called the U.S. military. Yes, it's called basic training. It's called boot camp. It's called tough love. It's called kick you in your ass, and it doesn't feel good, and you eat shit, but you learn from it and you grow from it. In fact, the principle, probably not Destiny, but if anybody takes a martial art, you get better at it by feeling bad, by getting your ass kicked. Now you got to get up, take it on the chin, dust yourself off, and go back at it again until you get it right. Okay? Some people feel like shit. When I was first started learning guitar, I felt really bad because I was like, I sucked at it. Now I'm pretty damn good, and it makes me feel pretty good about it. There are lots of stuff. What is self-help? What aspect of yourself would you like to help? Right? What if, you can say, well, shaming doesn't work. No, shaming works very, very well. That's why we default to it. What self-help does? It begins with, feeling bad. Well, it's not that I'm intentionally trying to make people feel bad. That's just simply the result of being confronted with data that conflicts with your, it's fundamentally counterintuitive to your belief set. Yeah. It feels bad before it feels good. You got to take it on the chin. You're going to suck before you're going to rule, man. You're going to suck before you master something. And it feels bad to suck, man. It feels bad to get rejected. It feels bad to get defeated. It feels bad to go, you know what? The reality is actually this. Oh, damn. You want to know why guys go through a red pill rage phase? It's because it doesn't taste good. That's why Michaela lost her shit on me, right? Oh, I felt really bad after that conversation. I certainly hope you did. Again, like I was saying, that's the only way people learn. Oh, well, if we just hold their hand, you want to know what the main you want to know why we have the participation trophy generation right now? Like Destiny doesn't understand. Oh, shouldn't we all be winners? No, we shouldn't. Men are competitive. You live in a competitive environment. The world has a competitive bias, my friend. Reality has a sexist bias. Reality has a competitive bias. Reality is live or die. Okay. I know we live in modern times, and shouldn't we have evolved past that? Yeah, we should have, but here we are. That's not where we're at, and it's not where we're going to be at, because that's not how the machine works, and that's not how the animal is. So yeah, it sucks. You got to eat a lot of shit before you can give a lot of shit.
Pill and self-help, but I don't know if there is, because it's not real self-help. It's usually bullshit self-help, because most of those communities aren't like people that are massively improving their lives, because generally the things they're told is to like fucking sell crypto and get shredded.
Yeah, well, get shredded, get your fat ass in the gym, do the work, put your nose to the grindstone. That doesn't feel good, especially if you're overweight. Get your fat ass in the gym, lose weight, get to a normal weight. Women will want you more if you look better. Simple facts. Reality again. I just work here, man. Yeah, that sucks. You gotta sweat. Sweat is weakness leaving the body, right? I'm not trying to turn you into a gym bro, but I mean, it sucks. It hurts, especially when you're first starting. It's like, oh God, I don't, the psychological aspects, but there's also the physical aspects of it too. But you know who I have more respect for than I do Destiny? Big Mo, man. Big Mo, because he's doing it. That's why I will always have respect for people who are actually out there. Like you see some fat chick that's jogging on the street and something. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at that girl. She's out there and you're not. She's at least realizes, she's made the connection. Hey, I need to lose weight. How rare is that insight today? Ask Aaron Clary. He'll be happy to tell you. You see guys in the gym, you see fat girls in the gym, fat guys in the gym. Like, you know what? I got more respect for them than I got for the guys who are like in the drive-thru at freaking Starbucks, Taco Bell, McDonald's, wherever you go. I have way more respect for those people, because yeah, it sucks. It hurts. At least in the beginning, and then you learn to love it, right? Then you get back at it. But that's not what the red pill's all about. By the way, Destiny, the red pill's not about, at least in my humble opinion, it's my opinion, the red pill is not about self-help. There's prescriptions. There's lots of people who have prescriptions. There's a lot of people who want to take the red pill and turn it into 12 rules for life. As I was saying earlier, there's a lot of people who want to turn it into a self-help guru-ship. I want to tell you, I'm red pill and here's how you're going to live a better life. Yeah, there's plenty of guys out there. There's plenty of shysters. There's plenty of guys who have honest intent that are good about it too. But the red pill itself is not about self-help. It's about education and equipment and equipping you, getting you to think, kicking you in your ass. Because sometimes thinking and getting to the point where you have insight, that sucks, man. Especially if it conflicts with like the way you've been living. I tell guys this all the time. This is a mystery quote. So you will only get what you've gotten if you keep doing what you've done. And if what you're doing isn't getting you to where you want to get, sometimes it sucks, man. Sometimes you're going to have to take it on the chin. Sometimes you're going to have to do the work, and the work is not going to be just freaking, margaritas on the beach, man. We're in the age of emotionalism. We're in the age of ego and the age of emotionalism. And so we base our policies, whether it's political, whether it's economic, whatever it is, based on our emotional response to things. We have at least the last 3 generations of men who've been conditioned, and blue pill conditioning, have been trained to emote like women, to see emotional. They've been trained and taught that the way that women process emotion is the correct way to process emotion.
Facts.
So when we say, that man he's toxically masculine, he's not in touch with his feelings, right? He needs to express himself emotionally. He needs to get in touch with his feminine side. All that stuff we've been talking about since the 70s. The reason why that's still a thing right now is because it's a great means of control over those guys, so that they will identify and align with the feminine, which is all based on emotion. So when we talk about like the emotional children that are out rioting in the streets right now, and they're tearing down statues, and don't they know that statue is this? They're not thinking rationally. They're not thinking with reason. They're thinking emotionally, because those last 3-4 generations have been taught to emote like women, to be like woman. Woman is correct. Transgenderism, right? Why is it that more boys want to be girls than girls want to be boys? Because it's more advantageous socially to be a girl in a gynocentric social order than it is to be a man, because nobody wants to be a dad. Dads are assholes. Boys are toxically masculine. We got to give him Ritalin. We got to give him Adderall. We got to give him, sedate that boy with drugs, with opiates, with alcohol, with pornography. Sedate him. Don't let him do anything, because if you let him do anything, he might turn toxic. He might turn violent. And it's all because we want to put men we want to force fit them into this emotional correctism. Whatever is female is correct.
Yep.
And so if you are brought up that way, you're going to vote that way. You're going to look for jobs that way. You're going to relate with people that way. Guys, the number one thing, guys, and I'm sure you've already got this. Guys will come to me for counseling or coaching or whatever the hell it is, right? And they'll say, "Rollo, I don't know how to interrelate with guys. I don't know how to talk to guys. I don't there's guys I want to hang out." I always talk about tribalism, or I talk about
it's very important for men.
We have our little tribe. This is a tribe right here.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have tribes? And they don't. And the reason they don't is because they've been taught to emote and to relate to men as if they are women.
Yeah.
And that's what's valuable, and that's what makes them valuable. And that's how they get their self-worth. So it's no shock to me when guys in the black pill community or blue pill or purple pill or whatever it is, they don't want to make women the measurement of their lives, but they still emote and they still relate with people as if they have a feminine sort of training. So when we look at things like communitarianism, we look at socialism, we look at why are we even talking about socialism in the United States right now? It's because we put so many women into positions of power that seems like a good idea. It makes them feel good. Hey, you get one, and you get one, and you get one, and you get one, and so meritocracy.
It's got to be it's so attractive, and I understand. I get the draw of it. It's super nice if my one pet issue just happens to be the thing that can describe all the ills of humanity. But I mean, at some point, do you not feel a little bit maybe I'm trying really hard to shoehorn in an explanation for every single social ill with my particular pet project, my particular thing that I care about? Doesn't it feel at some point okay, maybe I'm stretching a little bit? Why have video games gotten so much worse? Well, mechanics of the QuickTime events have gotten more popular because women have less reaction time, and so QTEs are not it just feels like
That is a logical fallacy, my friend. And let's see, which logical fallacy is that? Well, I mean, it's a non sequitur, of course. You could call it, well, not ambiguity. Let's see, not anecdotal. A slippery slope would be a good one. I suppose you could call that a slippery slope. It's like an appeal to like binary extremes, right? Like as if I'm going to say that the reason why video games suck or this is bad or like they didn't get good service at the fucking restaurant is because like I got to shoehorn it into my beliefs about women or whatever. No, listen to what I'm saying. Do not default to, was it begging the question? Maybe that was it. Yeah, circular argument in which the conclusion is included in the premise. Okay. And then the other one, my favorite, of course, is avoiding having to engage criticism by turning it back on the accuser, answering criticism with criticism, which, of course, is the most popular tactic that women use when it comes to issues and arguments that they have no counter argument for. And here we have a guy who has a very feminized mindset, at least from what I'm able to sort of glean from these videos he's done with Myron Fresh and Sneeko. When I look at this, I go, well, that's, most definitely that's the tactic, right? So that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that women and men organize societies differently. When we put women into positions of power, they organize and exercise that power much differently than men do. Women tend to be more communitarian in their approach. Men tend to be more hierarchical in their approach. I'll try to make this, I'll put it in like monosyllabic words so people can understand this, okay? In our hunter-gatherer ancestral past, women were the berry pickers. They were the gatherers. They were the givers of life. They were the incubators of the next generation. They were the vulnerable sex. For 9 months, they had to gestate and bring a child to term. And usually in our ancestral past, women's lives were consumed by one or more of those children, either in hand or in belly, most of the time. They needed protection. They needed protection from the elements. They needed protection from warring tribes. They needed protection from wild animals. They needed food, provisioning, everything, the 3 Ps of the beta buck side of hypergamy: protection, provisioning, and parental investment. They damn well needed all of that. And so, as a result, women tend to be the more communicative. They tend to rely on one another because there's strength in numbers. And there's this natural affinity. I can get into the war brides aspect of this too, if you'd like. But long story short, women tend to be more communal. They tend to be more communitarian. As you know, you've probably heard, I don't know, God knows, Hillary Clinton and whoever else say this, but in the past, it takes a village to raise a child. Community. Oh, will you babysit my kid while I'm doing this today? I got to go out and pick berries. Jenny, will you watch my kid? There's that communitarianism that is much more you want to know where egalitarian comes from? It's coming from that community, that sense of that interreliance, interdependency of women, by women, on women, for women. Men, on the other hand, tend to be more competitive, and we tend to be more hierarchical, simply because that's simply how our sexual nature breaks down. We want to know who's the best, who's the chief, who's the sub-chief, who's the sub-sub-chief, who's the general, who's the lieutenant, who's the sergeant, who's the corporal, who's the private, all down the chain of command. Same thing in our workspace. Same thing in our politics, same thing in our religions. It's all hierarchical. Who's at the top and who's at the bottom? Who are the people doing the work? Who's the plebes? Who are the serfs? Who are the knights? Who are the noblemen? There's so many ways I can show you male organized society throughout history. But when women get a hold of it, and I say, well, don't you think that Karl Marx was a man? He's the one who came up with Marxism and communism and everything. I go, yeah, based on a faulty understanding of human nature. Yeah, it's a failed meme. It's a dead meme. And the fact that we're even talking about it right now is a testament to the fact that we put women in charge, and it seems like a good fucking idea. We would never, I remember when Andrea Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, was getting into Congress, and they are seriously talking about, or you are naming their political parties Democratic Socialists. Hell, in Nevada, the state government is just about entirely Democratic Socialists. That's the name. That's in the title. When did that be? Like, remember when McCarthyism was going on, the 50s or when that was going on, and people ran him up the flagpole. I'm not saying he was right or wrong. I'm just saying that their attitude towards that was much different than it is right now. We're actually going, oh, it sounds like a good idea, democratic socialism, right? Communitarianism. When women get into a hierarchy, especially in the workplace, women get into the hierarchy of the patriarchal framework of a male-dominated, male-created organization of business to compete against other dudes who have the same freaking organization. When women come into that, they go, we need pregnancy leave. We need a ball pit in the communal workspace. We need Bagel Tuesdays. Oh, Jen's leaving. We need to have a going away party. Oh, we need to have a birthday party because so-and-so just turned 30. That's we need a talent show night, right? We need this. It's like women get into this male dominated workspace and they try to make it more palatable to a female way of thinking. And usually that is programs that benefit women are much more communitarian and they are less competitive and less hierarchical. When we look at group sports, I forget what I use this example all the time. It's like there was a time where I forget which soccer team it was, but it was, I want to say it was an Australian soccer team. And it's not the one that the kids beat. I'm saying it was in the news about a year ago. And it was, the concept was this, is that there's no captain of the soccer team. It's like the women in the soccer team would take turns being the captain because everything wanted to be even Steven. We're all going to be represented. And as I was making the observation here with Fresh and Fit, I said the same thing. I said, look, when women, these are the experiments, these are the research, okay? When women are given a set of resources, money, whatever it is, to distribute, and men are given the same amount of resources for whatever it is that they're doing, women tend to redistribute revenue and resources as evenly as possible. One for you and one for you and one for you and one for you. And oh, Jenny, you're pregnant. So here's two for you, one for you, one for you. And it tends to be much more egalitarian, much more communitarian, much more socialist. For men, it is usually based on performance. It's a meritocracy. It is, you say, oh, it's patriarchal, whatever. It is merit-based. So if John does way better, he's the one who's the team leader, he gets more money. The guy below him who's the facilitator, he gets some more money, but less. Like he gets $10, he gets $5. The next guy gets $3. The next guy gets $2, and everybody else gets $1 for just participating. It's based on performance. It's based on the job that you did. And you want to know why we're still complaining about gender pay gaps and we're talking about equality of outcome as opposed to equality of opportunity? It's because we have women in positions of power that think that equality of outcome is equality. That's why we're saying, oh, well, we need to pay the U.S. female soccer team the same amount of money that the male soccer team gets, even though their revenue is 10 or 20 times lower than that of the men. It's not about the performance of the men. The male team are probably going mop the floor with the female team. But they're like, it doesn't matter. We're playing the sport and this is what we're doing. And we deserve exactly the same amount of money as these guys get. Okay. But in a female way of thinking, that makes sense. They're doing the same job that we're doing. So we should get the same. Okay. That's one for you, one for you, and one for you, and one for you. That's egalitarian. That's everything's even. We should all get the same thing because we do the same thing. Now, when men look at that and they say, no, the guys are going to make more money because the guys are more competitive and the guys bring in more revenue, and therefore their performance, their hierarchical performance, outperforms the women on that hierarchy. So in the hierarchy of soccer players and U.S. soccer players, Olympic team, whatever, in the game of soccer, in the game of football, in that game, if women are on that hierarchy and men are on that hierarchy, men are at the top of that hierarchy and women are, somewhere in between. Maybe not at the bottom, but certainly below that of men. In that way of organizing society, the men get more money because the performance and because they merit more money than the little ladies do. Simple as that. That is it in a nutshell. Men organize societies in hierarchies. Women organize societies in communities. That's why socialism seems like a good idea to women. That's how you get the participation trophy generation. Everyone's a winner. No one should feel bad, right? Wasn't he just complaining about that? Well, the red pill, I don't think of any self-help program that starts with making people feel bad. I do. It's called sports. It's called high school sports. Yeah, you get better or you don't. You'll feel bad when you lose. Somebody's got to lose unless we live in girl world. And in girl world, everyone gets a trophy. And it means nothing, especially to little boys who are very, very competitive. How do we know that? Well, let me explain something. Let me give you a bit of information. Here we go. Men attribute more positive outcomes to competition than women. Women are less competitive than men in most contexts studied. Rapidly accumulating evidence suggests that competitiveness may pattern career-related choices and behaviors in ways that maintain and exacerbate the gender gap in economic and political outcomes. Imagine that. This is in 2019. To examine whether this gender difference is linked to differential beliefs about competition, we developed a scale measuring lay beliefs about competition. Okay, you can read the rest of this. I don't want to go too deep in here. However, at the end of the day, men attribute more positive outcomes to competition than women do. This, by the way, and everything that I show you from Rolf Dungren or Duncan or Steve Stewart Williams, Rob Henderson, all this stuff is back, and these are not like just half-assed articles you'll find on like Jezebel or the Onion or fucking Medium or something like that. These are actual studies. These are actual PDFs of research papers that they are quoting from. Men are more competitive, innately, proclivity-wise. He's playing a fucking video game, probably competing with other dudes at the same time. I don't know. I have no idea what this game is, nor do I care.
Whatever.
Regardless of how poorly you are working.
Dominance hierarchies, competence hierarchies, meritocracy, all of that stuff flies out the window because we don't see the value in it because
Bring him on. Hey, if this guy ever wanted to come on a chat, I would, sure. But
whenever women come into political power, whenever you get an AOC, whenever you get a woman who gets into Congress or the Senate, the first thing they do, their first priority, their number one priority, is not to their constituency. It is to the female purpose. It is to the sisterhood uber alles.
Kamala Harris.
So you got. I was going to say. You get women who go in there, and the first thing they talk about is we need to legalize abortion. We need to change up divorce laws. We need to change these things. We need all of these things that we think are so horribly unfair, and it all becomes about women's issues and not all of our issues. Like how are we going to govern? It doesn't matter as long as women get theirs, as long as the sisterhood is served. I can go on forever. I don't want to go on forever about that, but I talk in a great extent about the sisterhood uber alles in this book. That's where I see us going.
That's where you see us going?
We're going to be, our politics are emotionalized. Our media, our entertainment is all emotionalized.
Yes, Terminator with a female actress, James Bond.
Everything is feminized and everything is emotionalized primarily right now. And we think that that's going to sell more movies and more.
It's backfiring.
I'll leave you with this.
What's backfiring?
The Star Wars movies. I know John's a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And the last three Star Wars movies were.
I think he's working backwards from his conclusions.
And the reason for that is
women.
because they don't know how to write the hero's journey. It's a male specific thing, right?
Yeah.
Men must become.
Yes.
We have a burden.
No, hold on. That is so wrong. The hero's journey doesn't have anything intrinsically to do with a man. You can write that story for a woman. That is absolutely.
Yes, except for every time we do write it for women, it sucks. That's why we have the Mary Sue. Because when we look at, by the way, I just talked about this with the Savo brothers not too long ago on their channel. We were talking about Star Wars specifically, but like the hero's journey. Yeah, you could. Can you write it for the women? Yeah, you could, but nobody does. And I'll explain to you why. I'll let them finish here.
Not correct. Number one. Number two, love him or hate him. Okay, I'm going to run the risk at looking like a loser here, okay? My guess is that all three of those Star Wars sequels probably grossed over $1 billion each. That's my guess. Maybe they...
Yeah, because the fan base is there. Because the fanboys are there. It's fucking Star Wars, for fuck's sake, man. How about let's go. How much do you think the Han Solo movie made? How much do you think Rogue One made? How much do you think like any of the spin-offs are making? It's Star Wars. It's like pizza, man. There's no bad pizza. Oh, they made a lot of money. Yeah, that's not the metric of how good or bad the movie was. It's just how supportive the fan base is. Like, what was it? Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was the first flop, technically the first flop that Marvel ever produced. But you wouldn't know it by reading the reviews from Rotten Tomatoes, which were bought off by Disney, which were bought off by Marvel. There's a reason why they launched Captain Marvel on International Women's Day, March 8th. I remember the day when it came out. Me and Pat Campbell talked about it. They don't care. Money's money. Like, you just honestly, if you're going to use that as a metric of like whether or not, I think even though it made a shit ton, like just because a lot of people saw it doesn't necessarily mean that it was a fantastic movie, or they were like, there's a good series of movies. Also, it has nothing to do with how the characters are written.
Didn't. We've got 1.33 billion here.
And it's Star Wars.
1.074 billion here. What was the name of the final movie? I don't even remember the name.
I can't even remember the name of the final movie. Does it matter now? Does it matter? I don't remember the name of the final movie either. You know why? Because it was that forgettable. It might have made $2 billion, but you can't remember the name of it, can you?
Well, fuck. Is this The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker? What was the other one called?
Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens.
That was the first one, actually. I think. I don't even know. Who knows? He can't even remember it.
It was $2 billion.
Wow. So $2 billion for a movie whose title you can't even remember. I think that says a whole lot more about the sad state of those movies than the money does.
So, I mean, it's obviously not failing. You can criticize it for whatever you want, but like people are watching it.
They're not remembering the title.
How can you say that the hero's journey is male exclusive?
It is.
God, the worst thing that people do is when they make their media takes, like they try to like shoehorn that into their like political ideology. Like, oh yeah, like did you know that you can't have like a true hero's journey with a female protect? Yeah, you can. What are you talking about, bro?
Such as? What examples? What examples are there? Because certainly not in the 21st century. Let's be honest here. A lot of people, like I had this conversation with the Sable Brothers, and I explained this. I said, look, here's why the hero's journey doesn't work for women. Because men must become and women just are. So to understand the hero's journey is to have to be a man in the first place to become something more than you are. There's a cycle to it. You can go and probably should have there's a template for like understanding the hero's journey. I could go show you here's the phases that you have to go through to go to the hero's journey. You find Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And you go through the rest of it, right? And then the fight and the conflict and everything, and then there is a resolution, and it comes full circle once again. Okay. Could you put a woman into that? Yes. You try to, but it's not believable. Or it's usually something like the reason why I used the Force Awakens, whatever the hell it is. The reason why I use Rey as an example is because she was a Mary Sue, and she was the first thing that everybody complained about. They said, oh, it's sexism. You're trying to shoehorn all this stuff into your personal beliefs. No, it sucked and it failed because she was a Mary Sue. Why? Because she just was, and she didn't have to become. She didn't have to learn to use a lightsaber. She didn't have to learn to do force things, right? She didn't have to do any of that kind of stuff. And this is, of course, the imagination. I also used examples of who did I use? I think we were talking about Spider-Man. We were talking about like Captain America. Captain America is probably a good, I mean, maybe not hero's journey, but like a man must become. And we also talked about how when you look, a male fantasy, a beta male fantasy is Peter Parker, right? Spider-Man. And it is the guy, the weak weesh kind of guy who gets, he gets bullied and he gets his ass kicked in high school and he grinds his teeth and says, if I was just as big as strong as you, I would use my powers for good, right? Well, he gets bit by a radioactive spider, and suddenly now beta ass, weesh ass Peter Parker has superpowers. And he is an alpha male, or effectively an alpha male with superpowers, spider senses, all the superpowers that Spider-Man has. You could say the same thing for Captain America too, because he was this little weakling, 98-pound weakling. They put him in the super chamber and give him the super sauce, and he comes out as Captain America. In body, he's an alpha male. In mind, he's still the good guy for truth, justice, in the American way. He's going to use his superpowers for good, because you should, with great power comes great responsibility. And the reason why that sticks with us is because we think that the people who have great power don't understand the responsibility. But the beta male does, because he's always had his ass kicked. He's always got the nuclear wedgies from the jock in high school in the locker room. I would never do that. I would use my powers for good and save people's lives and do good, be a good dude. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that that's the fantasy, to be a beta in the body of an alpha and use that alpha, super powered alpha-ness in a way that a beta male would use it. Now, when I was talking to Rocky and Kevin, I also made this observation as well, is that because men must become, and women just are, writing a woman into a female into that traditionally, conventionally male hero's journey is fundamentally misunderstood by the writers. That's why you get a Rey. That's why you get female characters that fall flat. They're not believable, because they didn't have to do anything to earn their powers, to earn their stripes, to go from zero to hero, because women just are. They start as hero. She just knows how to use a lightsaber. She just has this she has this magical knowledge that Luke took years and years, but that's how special she is. They just simply don't know and don't care to know, because it's not even an afterthought for them. Oh, she just is. So we're going to continue the story. And that's why the stories suck. That's why you can't remember the goddamn name of the movies.
How many Disney movies? Have you seen Mulan? Like, what the fuck? Sorry.
Yes, Mulan. Putting a woman into a traditionally masculine role. She had to actually become a man. She had to become. And the other dangerous part about that is it's basically gender swapping. It's basically transgenderism in the early days of Disney, essentially. Well, she had to learn. At what point? At what point is she getting her ass handed to her? At what? Well, she goes in and basically Mulan is the story of a girl who has the ability and the natural talent and everything else. And by the way, she's still a female. She still falls in love with the prince, the Chinese emperor's prince, whatever. She's still a chick at the end of it. So let's just clarify the end of that freaking movie. But even still, she still comes in because she has this natural, wondrous talent that no one else has. You can find this in Brave, the movie Brave. You can find it in Moana. You can find it I guess Frozen too. Maybe I can't even remember. Frozen was so long ago. When my daughter was a young kid. Okay, but when you're watching these things, there's this female empowerment narrative that never includes having a come up story. Brave. Oh, she's just really good with a bow and arrow. And she taught this guy who's this big buffoon of a man. Daddy is always this, like lovable doof, but like the guy, Gaston. Oh, she showed Gaston a thing or two, because when you put women into those characters, when you write a story about women, or women are the primary main characters of that particular story, it ends up being a revenge fantasy. Anything you can do, I can do better. You don't remember that song, do you? I think it's from West Side Story. Anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, I can do too. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. That's what that is. That's all. That's the female fantasy. It's a revenge fantasy. And I mentioned this as well, and I'll reiterate it here again. If you go and you watch, I use this as an example when I was talking to the Savos. If you watch Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson, that one, the most recent one, the guy who plays her dad, of course, is the guy that's in Stranger Things, and I can't remember the actor's name. However, when that whole thing goes down, the main villain in that, I think people were complaining because he had I don't know if it was like a new villain or if it was just maybe it was some obscure villain that they brought in, but the guy was essentially Harvey Weinstein. He was the guy who controlled all the other like Black Widows or the La Femme Nikitas, right? The Russian assassins, the specially trained assassin women who were under his spell, under his mental control. And then at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, Scarlett Johansson frees the women and they turn on him, and then that's when they kill him. And he looks an awful lot, at least in sort of, you know, silhouette anyways, looks a lot like Harvey Weinstein. Now, I use that as an example because that is a revenge fantasy. We couldn't get it didn't feel good when Harvey went to jail. We really wanted to tear him limb from limb. Okay, let's write a revenge fantasy for a Marvel film where we'll make the villain into Harvey Weinstein and we can all feel good about it. That's really what The Handmaid's Tale is about. That's really what, I mean, name the movie. Name the movie where the woman, the main protagonist, doesn't in some way show up a guy or show up a stereotypical, he finally got his, right? There's what was it? I forget the name of the movie, but it was the retelling, I think, of a very similar story to what happened to Megyn Kelly, I think it was. And like when she left Fox News, and I think it was like Bill O'Reilly or something. I think the whole fantasy of it, they weren't using their names, right? But the whole you knew who they were portraying, but they weren't like, they renamed the characters, right? But the whole thing was bringing down this guy who's a sexual harasser. He's just this, you know, he's just this creepy, lecherous old guy. Go and get that guy, tear him down, bring him down, and women can feel good about that. That's usually what women protagonists are about. And by the way, don't give me the Alien with Ellen Ripley. Okay, you want that explanation? Here we go. Alien is probably my favorite movie of all time. I will go to my grave saying, yes, Alien was my favorite movie because it scared the living crap out of me when I was like 10 or 12 years old. Okay. However, great movie. Ridley Scott is probably his magnum opus and probably didn't even know he was doing it. It was absolutely fantastic. Although Gladiator was good too. Ridley Scott, fantastic director, fantastic story, well done. People always want to use Ellen Ripley as this forerunner to the strong female lead. And you could make a case for her maybe in Aliens in the second movie, or even any movie that came after that. I actually liked Alien 3, by the way. I think that was a sleeper. I liked it. When people don't like that movie, I thought it was really good. It was ruined by writing and directing, but I think fundamentally it was a pretty good movie. I think it belongs in the trilogy. However, in the first movie in 1979, you have to remember what was going on in 1979. You had movies like Halloween or Friday the 13th that followed a very similar slasher snuff film plot template, which is we get a bunch of kids, we take them to camp Silver Lake or Sleepy Hollow or whatever the hell it is, and we kill them off one by one until the final girl is there and she figures out some way to defeat Jason or Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers, right? And she's just the plucky girl who just, because she's by default she has to win, because otherwise it's like everybody's dead and there's nobody to tell the tale, right? So, and unfortunately we're still dealing with like Halloween number 25 or something like that with Jamie Lee Curtis, who's like in a wheelchair. But that's what was going on in 77, 78, 79. That was a very popular template. And it wasn't just those are the ones, you know, like Friday the 13th and there's one called The Stranger Calls. I remember that scared the crap out of me too. But that was the formula. And Alien was pretty much a snuff film in space. I mean, template wise, it was very well done. Don't get me wrong. But plot wise, it was a snuff film. And one by one, the critter, you know, the alien, the xenomorph, you know, messily kills every crew member, except for the plucky little girl at the end who has to stick around because you don't get another movie afterwards. There has to be, somebody has to defeat the monster at the end. And then it also follows the same plot formula where it's like you think the killer's dead and then he suddenly comes back alive, but she managed to defeat him at the end and you thought it was over, but it's not really over. And she had to kill him. Same thing with Alien, right? When she gets in the escape, or was it the narcissists, right? The escape vehicle, to get away from the ship, she explodes, right? But the critters actually, you think, oh, it's all over. No, the critters on board. Oh shit! It's the same. It's the same thing as Friday the 13th. Same thing as as Halloween. Same plot formula. So when people say, "Oh, well, she's the strong, independent woman," well, if that's the case, I could also, if that's your logic, I could make a case that whoever was the survivor of Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Jason in Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever classics, I could make the case that the girls who were left over, they're just as strong and independent as Ellen Ripley was. But yes, later on, Ellen Ripley, they turn her into an action hero. She was the female action hero. She was like Sylvester Stallone. She was like, I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger, that type. I'm not saying exactly like that, but if you say, okay, who's the 80s female action hero, you would say Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver, right? Ghostbusters even. Right? That was funny. I think that threw a lot of people off. I digress. But like when she was playing that role in the first Ghostbusters, and you see her and she's like, God damn, man, she looks pretty hot. She's not Ellen Ripley, badass. She's actually plays a stereotypically female character in Ghostbusters, and you go, wow, she cleans up really well.
Okay.
Performance, and we go through these trials and tribulations to become something, right? Whereas when you get like Rey, she already is. She's a Mary Sue, right? She's already, I know how to use a lightsaber just magically, right? Didn't have to do that. Well, the reason why we think that that's a good idea is because the writers who put that together are from that generation of emotionalism. And so we have a Mary Sue written as if it's this is a male character. We're just going to give her tits and a vagina, and then give her the power from the beginning. Yep. And so, because this emotional society thinks that's what.
Wait, because it's a male character, you shouldn't have Mary Sue's, whether they're male or female. That's just bad writing.
We give it the name Mary Sue because it's female, dude.
Now, they might have been inspired to make her a Mary Sue because she's a female character. That's possible. I think I've given that criticism before. But like,
why is it not Johnny Ray or Joey Tribbiani? I know. Why is it not like we call it a Mary Sue? Because it is a female character. That's why. It wasn't Johnny this or whatever. It was Mary Sue.
They weren't making her a male character. They were just making it a shit character. Like, even male characters shouldn't start off like that.
It was a shit character because they are trying to shoehorn a female into a conventionally male role. It was not believable, and you still can't remember the name of the movie, and neither can anybody else.
The fan base wants to see. They want to see this powerful. We need more powerful women and strong women and independent women leads in our movies. And you know what's kicking their ass? Mandalorian with a little baby. That's what women want. Bam. Is baby Yoda. They want Grogu.
It makes my asshole clench.
They want baby Yoda. They don't.
Is it wrong? That was what it was easy to understand. The baby, they don't want Tomb Raider. Women don't want action heroes. They don't want, clearly they don't want, like the number one thing when the Mandalorian first came out and it was baby Yoda, whatever the hell, when that came out, like there's a reason why it was super popular. There's a baby in it. Oh my God. And there's a man, a male character that is protecting the baby. Right? Am I wrong? Right? Why is one character popular and one not? Why was that a runaway success? Yet you can't remember the names of the other Star Wars videos.
Want ass kicking Mama Rey, they want baby Yoda is what they want. Maternity, because that's an innate drive in women. An innate drive in women is not, I'm going to learn a lightsaber and learn how to kick ass and take names. That's a man's job. Yep. And on our root lizard brain, on our pineal gland brain, we understand that. We recognize that. That's part of the machine.
Truth bomb time right now. Anyone that was alive in the 90s, famous movie that came out from Disney, Mulan. Okay? In the movie, what happens? Man. A woman must become, right? She learns in the beginning, she didn't know how to fight. She gets her ass kicked. She can't hop the things, whatever, shoot the bow and arrows. But what do they do? The song, be a man, you must be, you know what I'm saying? You must become in the song, right? And then she learns the skills.
Oh my God, it's part of the theme. It's ironic. That's the joke. The whole point of the song and everything is that, like, you're a woman, be a man. It's a joke because she's not actually a man. It's part of the theme of the movie is her wrestling with the fact that she is like a woman, but is still trying to accomplish things that a man does. It wasn't actually literally telling her to be a man. No. Oh God.
Could she have been a woman and still been in the army? Would she not have had to have become that man? Would she not have had to have been forced into that? Oh, let me put myself back in. Would she not have to be forced into that conventionally male role? Oh, it's a joke, blah, blah, blah. It's Disney. I mean, now you can say it's whatever. Oh, well, they were just joshing about that. Well, why include it in the song? Why include the song in the movie? And remember, Mulan was also done way back in the granted, you know, Disney's always been on this narrative. But Mulan was an 80s thing. Remember, she still falls in love with the prince. She still turns back into the princess, or she turns back into the female. And you want to know again, Mulan, revenge fantasy. Brave, a revenge fantasy. Moana, a revenge fantasy. Name any movie, especially Disney Pixar movie, and name any movie with a female lead, which is like pretty much all of them right now. Name any one of those, and you will probably find that there's I can do it too. I can be equal. It's all based on the blank slate. It's all based on, a girl can do it too. We're trying to fight against this endemic patriarchal oppression. So Mulan had to turn herself into a boy so she could prove she's just as good as a girl, right? Or she's just as good as a guy. She's a girl who's just as good as a guy, right? What about, here's one for you. You want a gender swap? This is what I'm waiting for. We'll never do this, but you guys you're familiar with Conan? Is anybody familiar with Red Sonja? Red Sonja was a very popular character of chainmail bikinis. I'm sure she was in the late 70s, early 80s, right around that time. There's always got to be some counterbalance, right? The Wonder Woman was the counterbalance to Superman, right? I mean, clearly you can find the we can do it too kind of thing. There's always been a push, whether it's in Marvel or whether it's superheroes or whether it's Disney Pixar, whether it's Mulan, there's always a push to say, well, we can do it too. We're just not given the chance. No, you can't, because we're fundamentally intrinsically different. That's why become a man or be a man. That's why you laugh at it. That's why you're outraged by it. Because the underlying message for all of these movies is the blank slate. Nothing matters except for social convention, social constructionism, and the blank slate. That's all Disney has been doing for at least the mid 70s. That's all we see in Hollywood today. But it's not just about the blank slate. It's also about revenge. Well, men have held us back, and so now we're going to prove to you that we're just as tough as men and we can do whatever. Now, Red Sonja is the counterbalance to Conan. And the difference is Red Sonja goes around killing dudes because she's proving to everyone that she can be just as tough and kill guys just as wantonly as Conan. Well, she's a tough bitch. She's Red Sonja. Chainmail bikini. And did it in the chainmail bikini, right? So what I want to see is a gender swap. Like, when are we going to see the gender swap of a ginger barbarian who goes around with a big sword or an axe or whatever she was using, like who is a ginger barbarian. He doesn't have to have a bikini, but he's a ginger barbarian. He goes around, he kills women because he wants to prove to women that he's just as strong as any woman. When are we going to see that movie come out of Hollywood? When Marvel's got the rights, I'm sure. When are we going to see Red Sonja turn into gender swapped ginger barbarian who goes around and exclusively kills women to prove how tough he is? Like he's tougher than any woman. When do we see that? It sounds like equality to me. You want to talk about the blank slate? How come we don't see that narrative? No man's Red Sonja. Oh, he just
she learns how to fight. She does this all with a masculine frame of reference. That movie did excellent. Why? Because she had to become, even a woman had to adhere to masculine traits to be able to get the entertainment value. The hero's journey. No one cares. It's a masculine story every single time, even if you put a woman in the lead. And Mulan is an excellent example of that. When did that movie come out? In the fucking 90s. That would never come nowadays, right? Because a woman having to become what? Ugh. And now here's the thing. Hollywood is paying the consequence for being woke. You want to be woke? You're going to go broke. Because at the end of the day, people know deep down that women just are and men must become. And even if you put a woman into a male role, if you want to get the views and you want to get the entertainment, she still has to become.
I don't know, man.
Here we go.
How much responsibility do you feel that you have, particularly guys the alt-right, who, as you say, some of them have enjoyed your work? And so
is this the one
you guys? I'm not with
where she asks what female authors?
Right.
Oh no.
This is majorly boring now. Okay. Like, this is like lazy podcast. Maybe this is just the replay on YouTube. This is like lazy ass podcasting. So let me make a few other points here before I get out of here. Okay. So women opt for more egalitarian redistributive policies than men do, prioritize equality over efficiency, and report greater willingness to share wealth. So getting back once again to why women are the socialist sex, or it is endemic, or it is like innate to women's psyches. That's why. That's why I say that. There's study right there. You want another one? Here's another one. Women support an encompassing welfare state to a greater degree than men, even more so in more gender egalitarian countries. Like where? Finland. Hey, school. Hey. Okay, this is what it was. In this research, I set out to explore the gender gap in support of the welfare state in 21 European countries. First, this study showed that in general, women support an encompassing welfare state to a greater degree than men do, and by levels that well match the levels of traditionally explored factors such as class and labor market status. At the country country level, role theory predicted that gender equality in unpaid labor would be associated with gender similarity in socio-political attitudes due to an overlap of life patterns and role expectations. However, the present findings show exactly the opposite. A more equal distribution of unpaid care and domestic work correlates with women being increasingly supportive of a large and encompassing welfare state in comparison with men. So, sound like women like to redistribute things and men like to be hierarchical? Sounds like it to me. Now remember, this is in the most egalitarian countries in the world. Gender equality in unpaid labor is positively associated with gender differences in support of the welfare state. These results align better with the predictions that were made by combining modernization theory and institutional theory on public opinion. This perspective holds that positive impact on women's everyday lives that result from a more equal division of unpaid labor should correspond to women being more supportive of an encompassing welfare state in comparison with men, especially if part of the reason for this progression is a shift of some of the care responsibilities to the state rather than altered gender roles for men. So, long story short, if women can get beta bucks from the state, they're more than happy to support a welfare state. They're more than happy to have the child support, AFDC, whatever it is. They're all about, once again, they're all about an encompassing welfare state to a greater degree than men. Of course they are, because they benefit more from that. And it seems, and it fits logically, it sounds like it's correct because it is redistributive ways of organizing society. It's communitarianism. Men in competition, I think I got to this. Men attribute more positive outcomes to competition than women do. And this was a really good one. I was hoping I was going to get to this. If I ever got with like Destiny, if you ever want to do something like this, I'm happy to entertain this. Male students preferred protecting free speech over an inclusive and diverse society by a decisive 61-39. Female students took the opposite position, favoring an inclusive, diverse society over free speech by 64-35. Okay, so egalitarianism, inclusiveness, diverse, whatever, multicultural, whatever it is a female way of thinking versus free speech, which is a male way of thinking. Like, how are we going to test an idea? How are we going to, Andrew Tate just got picked. Well, here, well, let me see. I got it right here. Right, here we go. Oh, by the way, and so this is, these are teachers. And remember, 78% of teachers certainly in the United States, from preschool to post-secondary, are female. The rise of Andrew Tate is ruining my freshman boys. Have you all heard of a sexist, misogynistic, disgusting excuse of a human being known as Andrew Tate? Well, I promise you, all your middle school and high school boys have, and they're addicted to his content. Just this week, I've had 6 conversations with families about their sons saying shit like women are inferior to men, women belong in the kitchen, MS, whatever. Not only are they making these misogynistic claims in class, but they are literally refusing to do assignments if it's sourced from a woman. I had 3 boys refuse to read an article by a female author because women should only be housewives. But when I say I'm a teacher and here teaching you, the cognitive dissonance kicks in and they start saying, yeah, but teaching is a woman's job. Right? Well, whatever. No, it's actually not. It should be a man's job. It is a woman's job now because most men don't want to get into teaching because it's low paying and they don't want to get hit for a sexual harassment case, even though they put 8 to 10 years, whatever, into their education and their student loans, only to be forced into this socialist. Remember, that's why we don't want to go to college anymore, right? It's a socialist feminist indoctrination camp. Why do we have that impression of higher education? Because it's mostly women that are doing the organizing of those schools and doing the teaching. Yes, we need more men. Absolutely. It's not teaching should not be a woman's job. It is now because they're the only ones doing it, but it shouldn't be. Also, clergy going to church should not be a woman's job, but that's what we got. That's what we're dealing with. It's not cognitive dissonance. It's just recognizing the pattern. But I think what's interesting here is you got female teachers who are having a real problem with Andrew Tate here. But didn't Patrick Bet David just tell us about it an hour ago, how women were going to save us and make us all more alpha? We just got to listen to the little ladies and they're going to be the ones that are going to save us and help us with the comeback. Well, apparently not the teacher, not the PTA here. They're not going to help us. They don't like Tate at all. They're happy he's banned, right? That's the PTA is against you, Andrew. Sorry, I'm just reporting the news. So you're not, no one is coming to save you. No one. All right. I want to throw this one out here real quick, just because I have it handy right here.
Yeah. Madam MD.
I think we are not paying sufficient attention to the law of unintended consequences. We take decisions with an objective in mind and rarely think through what may happen that is not our objective. And then we wrestle with the impact of it. Take any decision that is a massive decision, like the decision that we need to spend to support the economy. And at that time, we did recognize that may lead to too much money in circulation, too few goods, but didn't really quite think through the consequence in a way that upfront would have informed better what we do. And I subscribe entirely to what Christine said about climate shocks. We are already out of time. And the fact that whenever something hits us, we forget about this other crisis is incredibly troubling. The fact that we are, I'm sorry I'm going on here, but I'll finish in a second. We act sometimes like 8 years old playing soccer here is the ball, we are all at the ball, and we don't cover the rest of the field.
Okay. This is, what's her name? She's the IMF director. Did you know that? And this is Christine Lagarde. I believe she is she World Bank or, hey, I think she's World Bank. Anyways, long story short, this, by the way, was the, I want to say this was part of the UN Women's Conference on the climate. This is from last year, so it's a little 1 year dated, sorry. However, did you know that the director of the IMF, the World Bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank, did you know that they're all female? Did you know that, well, of course, you've got Janet Yellen, who's a Treasury Secretary here. If you go and you look, I believe I got this off of Zero Hedge, although Zero Hedge is now behind a paywall, sorry. But there was a really great article about how I think it was like 16 of the world's most, like the first world countries, like 16 of the industrialized nations, the purse strings, the financial affairs are being handled by women. And these are the women who are printing too much money. I said earlier in this show, we printed too much money. We're like playing, it's like we're playing soccer. It's like we're chasing, like, okay, so what did I ask at the very beginning of the show? I said, how are women going to organize society? When we have the participation trophy generation is the direct result of women being in the organizing society. We have women who are in the IMF, the ECB, the World Bank. How do women work with money? Well, again, what Destiny laughed. Oh, well, it's, little ladies are just, it's not because they're spending money. No, they're directing resources. They're allocating funds. How do women allocate funds? Well, we know one for you, one for you, one for you. That's what I was saying. And my story hasn't changed. I was having this conversation with Jason Hartman not too long ago. I'm not changing my tune. It's the same thing. I brought this up before. I brought this up at the Collective. I brought this up in Dallas when I did my workshop there at the Rebel Capitalist. So what do you got to say for yourself? So is it social? Because it seems to me that the communitarian nature of women that is endemic to their evolved psyches, the way that women are, they're the gatherers, we are the hunters, hierarchy versus the circle, the community. What does it look like when women organize society? Because right now we're going to find out, we're already finding out. And apparently, according to the IMF director, it's like little kids playing soccer and, kicking the ball and chasing after the ball and printing lots of money. So you tell me, man, I just work here. Do you think that that's incorrect? That's an incorrect take? Because I sure as fuck don't. And then Patrick Bet-David, if you're watching this, these are the people that are going to save us. These are the people that are going to lead us to the promised land. These are the women that are going to help us become more alpha. Got to listen to them. Well, if you want to keep half your audience, you got to say something like that. But I want to know how. How's that going to happen? Because it sure ain't happening. It's not working out for Tate. Tate was Tate was definitely trying to help guys become more alpha. And look, where is he now? And by the way, Tate's doing just freaking fine. Trust me. I'm talking like Justin Waller's really good friends with. I know Tate too. I know everybody's talking to him on the side. I have him in my DMs on Instagram as well. He's been kicked off before. Don't worry. It's not a free speech issue. Trust me. Oh, we kicked him off. I can't believe it. I can. It's like probably his 13th, 14th account that's been kicked off. He'll just come create another one. It'll be like son of Wuhan or Wudan or whatever. I forget Morpheus 3 or whatever he calls himself. Meanwhile, John MLD will create his 15th account because he'll get kicked off for, saying something. Using the FAG word or something like that. And you just keep coming back. That's all. And then again, who cares? Because it's Andrew Tate is legion. It's like Hail Hydra, man. You cut off one head and three more take its place. That's not going to work. The algorithm, by the way, the whole thing, the affiliate marketing thing, it's not because Tate's like such a, Tate's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. And the message is very outspoken. He's an outrage broker is what he is. But let me explain something to you. The reason why Andrew Tate is everywhere is because he has guys that put him everywhere. And that's why he's going to do just fine after all of this. Here's the next step. We're going to make a big deal out of it being a free speech issue. Maybe he'll get on, national TV, or go on Alex Jones, or who's been kicked off too. Maybe he'll go on somewhere else. He'll be happy. We'll probably go on several. He'll come on my channel anytime he wants. Please do. Come on, Tate. I'll be happy to interview you now. It's not going to be a free speech issue. It's just going to be it's par for the course. This is by design. And he'll come back. He'll come with something else, and he'll be right back where he was. Or there'll be somebody who's one of his followers who have the second biggest Tate account, and he'll come up. You don't get rid of Tate. You don't get rid of like I said before. I said this in the past. Take away the red pill. Take away Tate. But cancel Tate. Cancel Rollo Tomassi. God, bless. God bless Kevin Samuels and Pat Campbell and everybody, they're gone. God bless all the people who are gone. But if you took all the personalities, you canceled the Manosphere, you will never cancel the Manosphere because it's unignorable. There'll be somebody else who will come up. Somebody who read my book, or somebody who just figured it out on their own, because you can't put the freaking toothpaste back in the bottle. You can't, or the tube. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's out. It's unignorable. And if I'm gone, people are still going to see it. The idea is still here. It's too in your face not to see it. Unless you're a guy who sticks your head in the sand like Destiny. Like, I'm happy to have the discussions. I'm trying to be measured today. I'm not, I don't think I lost my shit once, right? So that's it. And I think that if we're looking to women to be sort of our guides, or all that is just like, no one's coming to save you. Oh, well, okay, well, women will help us with the comeback. No, they won't. That's why you want to know why the MRA movement sucks and the MRA movement is more or less dead, because of exactly that. Bringing women into the fold, bringing feminists in the fold, Dean Esme and, Paul Elam thought had their backs, and now they hate them. And they're, you had Karen Strawn, and you had Christina Hoff Summers and Cassie J. And I mean, I could make a case for like Marnie Wing Girl, who's just basically a product. And then you've got like Roma Army and the rest of these people. And they're basically using MRAs as a springboard for their own personal brands. I saw it back then. I still see it right now. Oh, why do you work with Torsia? Because she ain't no MRA. I'll tell you that right now. She's definitely a brand. I will work with the brand for sure. But I'm under no illusion that she's going to usher in some new age of alpha masculinity. And neither am I. Only you get to do that. Hopefully I will equip you to do those things. But no one is coming to save you. No woman is going to lead you to the promised land. No woman is going to help you with don't call it a comeback. No woman is going to help you with the comeback. You're going to be your own goddamn comeback. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you're better equipped and you have this information and you've been educated and you are red pill aware. It is incumbent upon you to be red pill aware. So don't ask me for advice or influence or programs or prescriptions, because any prescription I give you should be an insult to you. It should be. I can tell you, hey, here's what I think. Here's what's worked for me. I can tell you that. I could tell you, like, here's what I think are best practices in my life that worked out for me. But I'm in my mid 50s. I've been married for 26 years. I have a kid that's 24 years old, right? My conditions are not your conditions. And I would be insulted if somebody said, well, you just follow my path and you'll be just like me. Get the fuck out of here. No way. What would you tell your 18-year-old self, Rollo? Nothing. Because my 18-year-old self wouldn't listen to shit. And rightly so, because my 50-some-odd-year-old self is living in a completely different condition and completely different environment than my 18-year-old self was. So that's kind of a non-starter to me when people ask me about that. If you want to say, well, what do you think is coming in the future? Or what would you tell the youth of today? Give us some like advice and some inspiration and something like that. I mean, I can quote things. I can say, this is where I think things are going. I can certainly say, I think we need to abandon emotionalism in favor of rationalism. We need to start making our decisions based from rational decisions and not from emotion. We need to cut the bullshit with well, don't judge me. Let's be non-judgmental. No, we need to be more judgmental. That if you want advice, you want me to say what I believe in, I think we need to be more judgmental. I think we need to abandon emotionalism. Not entirely. It's impossible to do it entirely. However, I think we need to start, let's just say this. We need to start prioritizing rational, reasonable, critical thinking over emotional decision-making in our politics, in our religion, in our personal lives, in every fucking aspect of society, in Hollywood, everything. And sometimes that's not going to taste good. And sometimes you're going to feel good about that. But you know what? That is actually self-help. Stop. Oh, follow your heart and everything will go right. Follow your heart. It'll never lead you astray. That sounds really good in 80s power ballads. And sounds real good in Mulan. Sounds real good in Disney Pixar, but it is a shitty way to organize your life. There's your influencer right there. Start prioritizing rationality. Those are some general ideas, I suppose. But no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hold your hand through life. No woman is going to help you with a comeback. You're going to help you with a comeback. And you do not get to say, no one is coming to save me, and then say, Rollo, how come you don't give me any prescriptions? How come you don't have any concrete solutions? Because no one is coming to save you, including me. I'm not coming to save you because I couldn't save you if I wanted to. And I do want to. I really do. And hopefully I can. Hopefully I have saved you in the past. Hopefully people take the noose off their neck and they take the gun out of their mouth. And I know that that's happened. And I know people have saved their lives and kids still have fathers because their fathers read my book. I'm happy about that. I'm good with that. But they came to that conclusion, not because I gave them prescriptions, but because I equipped them, because I gave them answers. I connected dots and I had them think in ways that they never thought before. And as a result, they canceled their plans to kill themselves. I would call that as a raging success. But that's not a prescription. That's equipping them to make the decision to keep going, even though they're zeroed out. I'm happy to be sympathetic. I can always do that. I'm very sympathetic, especially for veterans who want to kill themselves, right? I'm very sympathetic. I'm a good guy, man. If I got a fault, I care too fucking much. But I care enough not to go and try to bullshit you and trick you with some 12 rules for life or 7 tips for a better marriage or how to fuck her the right way. I'll go talk to Sterling for that one, right? I mean, he's better at that shit than I am. He's got way more experience, professional experience. Is that the prescription you want? No one's coming to save you, period. So if you're going to say, well, oh, there's no concrete answer. It's long on theory and short on solutions. Well, if you're looking for solutions, the problem isn't with the guru. It's with you. Your problem isn't, oh, they don't have anything for me. They don't have any plan for me to follow so I can do what I have to do. Just tell me what to do, Rollo. Show me how to live. Hold my hand through life. If that's where you're at and you still think, oh, no one's coming to save me, you have a bigger problem than me not giving you a prescription. It's that you want a prescription in the first place without saying, you know what? I have options. I have equipment. I'm more aware than, I mean, you think about it, man, there's a lot to be optimistic about when it comes to the red pill. And people will say, oh, that's not, it's pessimistic. It's black pill. It's doomer. It's nihilistic. No, the black pill does that because the black pill is in fact a prescription. MGTOW is a prescription. You want to know why those guys love that shit? Because it seems like a direction. It seems like some place that those are influencers. Black pill doomers, definitely. Spurg Tau, Doom Tau, whatever the hell Tau. Yeah, because that's a prescription. Tradcons, that's a prescription. Now here's the best practices. You don't get that from me, and people get really frustrated. But you know what? They come to me and they keep coming back at me. They're not going to the trads and giving them shit. They're not going to the black pill doomers. They're not going to MGTOWs. They're not going to any of these subgroups. They're not going to MRAs. They're not going to any of these subgroups. You know where they keep coming back to? Me. And not because I'm like, I'll fool myself and I got all the fucking answers. No, it's because I have answers and I don't give prescriptions. Because no one is coming to save you. The end. Thank you very much. I will see you guys next. Actually, I'll see you guys on Wednesday with Justin Waller from Lake Tahoe, beautiful Lake Tahoe, and that will be that. What else I have going on? I think that's it. By the way, here we go. Thank you for watching. We're at the I only did 2.5 hours. Yeah. 2.5 hours mark. We're just about done. However, I will have a special announcement on Wednesday when I'm recording or I'm doing a live stream or whatever, when I'm with Miguel and I'm with Justin. So you're going to want to watch for that. It'll be on Wednesday. So check that out. I love all you guys. No one's coming to save you, but you can still save yourself. Thanks for watching. Go get a Red Pill Lions NFT. Join the community. It's a community now. It's not just an NFT. Go to the Discord. You'll see the Discord server in the links below. If you want to buy an NFT, fine. If you just want to join the server, please do. That's where my main, so people say, well, where's your Discord? How can I get in touch with you? You can go to the Red Pill Lions Discord server. That's where I'm at. Go follow the Red Pill Lions channel. I've got 2 videos on there right now, some interviews. I know Tori's been on there once. I've done some interviews with her. I've done some interviews with Kevin Saville, and the only place you're going to find those is there. So do go check that out. And I'm working with them, of course, a little more extensively these days. I will be back in Connecticut once again, shooting the video for my series of videos for book 5, which is the Player's Handbook, but there'll be the Player's Workshop videos. Those are coming up soon. If you are on my mailing list for the Rational Mail, you'll get an announcement for that. I'm going to put it out on the mailing list. And there's like I think I have about 12,000 people on that mailing list right now, which is great. So I'll be doing that Patreon group. You'll get first shots at that as well. Do check out my Patreon. Yes, I am still doing counseling, one-on-one counseling, and I do group counseling once a month through my Patreon. You get 2 hours. It's usually about the middle of the month, and we've got I think we've got 10 guys right now. I cap it at 25. We've had as many as 18. Now we're down to about 10. It kind of, people come and go, and that's the way it's intended to be. So it's 2 hours. Once a month, it's $200 tier. That's it. So pretty decent. If you want one-on-one, hit me up. If you want to email me, it is rtrationalmail, MALE, @gmail.com. And make sure that you put counseling in the subject line. That way I'll know it's counseling, and I'll send you back my policies. And if you want to do one-on-one, I am available for that right now. I presently have 7 clients, so I will take another 3. Because that's about the max that I can do right now. And then don't forget Instagram. Go check it out. Oh, and finally, on August 29th, we'll be dropping the Trial of Ascension 3rd EP on Spotify. And I will, I'll make a bigger announcement when we get closer to the time. But our EP, my band, Trial of Ascension, will be, we're going to be doing a live stream, a Q&A from our rehearsal studio. We're going to live stream it. We're going to do sort of a listening party, like a release live stream. I don't know what to call it, but we're going to do Q&A. And I humbly request, and I'll be hosting it on this channel, but I would humbly request that you please keep your questions to music. And if you want to talk, hey, Rolo, this, I love your shit. Okay, fine. But you guys wanted a rational metal show or whatever. I don't even know what to call it. This will probably be the inception of that show. So we're going to do a Q&A. It will be September 3rd. That is Saturday. And it will most likely be, I think, probably about noon Pacific time. So that'll be 3:00 Eastern time. But that'll be September 3rd. So put that in the back burner. I'll make another announcement as we get closer to it. But EP drops on the 29th. So that'll be fun. And speaking of music, how about this? Preceding podcast has been a production of The Rational Mail, registered trademark 2022, all rights reserved. Don't steal my stuff.